态不一样嘛，会比较容易崩溃吧，我觉得。
Maybe OG felt the pressure. That's why we lost against TNC.
We had played TNC before, many times, and there was no doubt in our mind and in their minds also that we were the better team. But they have this fire going for them. It's scary. It's really scary to play these teams because they have nothing to lose.
You underestimate a team, you don't play your best just because you feel it's going to be, quote unquote, a free win. But that free win is a free loss. That's what happens.
我觉得黑马队的性质就是对当前版本有自己的一套独特的打法。
I think DC's what they were doing the most at TI was really focusing on split pushing.
I could count 5 teams or even 10 teams that would be ahead of DC, but they go to the grand finals.
Misery, congratulations. How does it feel to take down the TI5 champs?
Holy shit, dude. That was a crazy ass game.
I always learn a lot watching these dark horses. Usually people just go to them and like, how did you make that happen?
How are you able to do that up against them?
And they always answer like, we don't know, and then they say something, but they actually know.
So, yeah, I don't know.
And what they say right after the we don't know is usually the key to the success they just had.
We kind of pulled some tricks in the draft that made them believe that a core hero was a core, when in fact it was a support all along.
DC went on like one of those crazy OG loser bracket win streaks. Once a team gets in the booth and they get used to the feeling of winning, it's kind of hard to stop them.
These kind of teams, they have a flow going on. It's something very unique, and they just roll throughout the tournament.
像 CDC 这支队伍的话，我觉得它是历届所有就是 TI 系列赛中，我觉得是最大的一匹黑马。因为他们是从外卡赛杀进来的一支亚军队伍，并且这支队伍的5个人全是第一次打 TI。
They struggled in the wild cards. They did. They almost didn't make it.
We did play them even 1 month before TI, and we just beat the crap out of them. And then 1 month later, they go to the international and they beat the crap out of everyone else.
What a Winter's curse from Q demolishes 2 more. I don't know how, but they came on CDEC again and again with the upsets.
It just caught every team off guard. And I think that's just like a perfect definition of what a dark horse is.
I think every year there's been an underdog that has impressed me.
One of the really hard-working teams from the open qualifiers just seems to surprise everyone. So I don't know what team that'll be.
Dark horses just play a different kind of Dota too. They teach you a lesson. They teach you 2 lessons. It's very inspiring.
It's like a Cinderella story. And when you get those teams starting to beat ours, which showed everyone in the world that everyone can do it.
First thing, all the games are final. If there's a bug in a match, we're going to play. We won't go back for a bug. It's just part of the game. Geometry site does not reveal wards. Okay? So keep that in mind. You guys probably does not reveal wards. It's a bug.
We heard that there are going to be some tournament for a huge amount of money.
当时听说有个 TI1 的比赛嘛，就相当于玩一个 DOTA 1的加强版 DOTA 2嘛。
I think I got the beta key first time somewhere 2 weeks before the first international, maybe 3.
Well, the first moment in which I loaded up Dota 2 was actually a complete disaster.
It was a very mixed feeling for me at least. This looks great, but I actually don't understand what's happening at all.
Maybe one guy liked it. I thought it was pretty cool, but everybody was just like, what the fuck is this?
The initial reaction, not just for myself, it was just like, this isn't Dota.
I played Dota 1 for 5 years or whatever, and I loved the game completely. Mechanics and how you move around and stuff.
6 years ago, we just played Dota 1 all day at that time.
Some things were so bad about Dota 1, but we got so used to it that it felt natural. changes to something that's really important to you is always hard to welcome. Not in the sense that you look at it in a bad way, but you know, it's like everything's gonna change. 1 week after, or even maybe 2 days after, you're gonna look back and be like, I was so stupid to even hesitate.
TI was on such short notice, hey, we're gonna make a tournament, $1 million. We were like, okay. It's like, is this real?
Prior to the event, I think was it DK? They declined an invite because they didn't believe it was true. A lot of the pros at the time, when they transitioned, they're like, oh, well, we'll just do it this one time. It's a lot of money involved and just go back to Dota 1.
I thought it was a little ridiculous, to be honest with you, for playing for $1 million. That was like by far the highest paying prize pool of any Dota tournament.
What do you think of Dota 2 so far?
I'm just waiting for it to be finished because, you know, all the little bugs and tweaks and I guess some of the animations aren't complete.
Yeah.
I think everyone kind of understood and accepted that no one was going to be ready.
We just went with it. We accepted the fact that this is the game now.
当时我们去打 TI1 的比赛的时候，然后我队友他连就是装备都怎么买都不知道，然后就很尴尬。
We took it very seriously. During that time, we wanted to be the best team regardless. We didn't even want to lose anything that was, let's say, fake. We didn't care.
Na'Vi, they had a set number of heroes, maybe 10, 15 heroes that they played throughout the tournament.
And we were choosing them by attack animation. We were thinking, okay, those guys, they have some broken attack animation. Let's choose them.
We really never played in booths like that. We abused the booths. Dendi was just jumping up and like, screwing around with people every time the first blood happened or something like that. Tagil, you do this. Tagil!
Tagil! We were like not realizing that we actually play for this amount of money. We were just playing and having fun. We were so confident. I remember we were so confident that we're going to win because I joined the game and I feel so free.
When the first international ended and we saw the whole spectacle surrounding it, everyone knew that this was something that was going to come long term, and other tournament organizers immediately jumped on it and wanted to run this game.
Esports definitely grew a lot the next coming years after that, more than it did prior to it. As much as people dislike the changes in the beginning, they're all for the better, and I think Dota now is better than it's ever been.
It just felt like this is going to be the future. You know, it set a message. This is what esports is going to be.
The All-Star matches are always fun at TI. This is where, you know, everybody gets to have fun from players' perspective and fans' perspective.
Community could vote for players, and 10 players who would get most votes would play 5 against 5.
You really appreciate it, especially when you're not chosen, because then you remember it. It means more, right? It's just this good feeling that you know that you're appreciated.
能被邀请去那个打明星赛，其实我觉得就对自己来说就非常兴奋吧，因为我是一个明星。
很喜欢那个就是有写着我名字的那件 T 恤，然后但是我还是比较喜欢玩，不喜欢当 coach， 就是很开心啊，就感觉他们穿了就是那个衣服，就好像在支持我一样。
TI3 one, I guess, was the most memorable one, where Dendi, you know, ran around after he killed me.
I just had some fun, you know, trolling around.
Whatever, still won the match, easy.
Last year was crazy, like, because it was 10 against 10.
That was great. I had to pick one guy and some other guy stood up and it ended up in a rock, scissors, paper, you know. I felt bad for the guy, but at the same time, you know, everyone was having fun.
I think last year's All-Star match was by far like the best one.
For some reason, you have to sit here. Like everybody else chose their own spots to sit. Something's going on here.
How confident are you in this team?
You know, sitting next to Dendi. Old times, you know.
You wish it were Dendy.
Isn't it?
When mask was pulled off, I was like shaking my head and went like, oh, I'm sorry, people around me. Oh, in my sweat.
Opa Dendy.
It was amazing. And I had a lot of fun.
所以当时我觉得娱乐的时候，我买圣剑，我还是要继续全水去虐他们，然后对我虐了你们，但是输了那场游戏过后，竟然开心，但是又有点丢脸的感觉。
我对明星赛的印象，我觉得现在是做得越来越娱乐了，因为本来就大家不是为了输赢就做得越来越有趣了。
Of course, you want to win it still. You know, you don't want to be the all-star team that loses.
I would love to see being a professional gamer is actually worth your time and like you can make a living out of it. I'd obviously like for it to be a professional sport like any of the sports out today and if they've grown. It's going to take time, first of all. A lot of the world isn't really open to like gaming and online gaming and stuff like that, and especially around here if you talk about, oh, I'm a professional gamer, they're like, you're a what?
Fear Darkness was like an idol for all the North American players. I just respect him a lot as a person and as a player.
Fear 这个人呢，其实一直都知道他是美国队长嘛，他是EG的灵魂吧。
When I was younger and just playing video games for fun, I didn't have an end game at all, and I thought after a few years it would probably catch up to me, but somehow like it just caught on and it just became very popular, and I became successful doing it. To be able to be on a top team, you need to play, like 6 to 9 hours a day at the bare minimum. The thing that happened that almost made me quit entirely was when I got my first arm injury. Like I had no idea if it was going to heal or not, and I was like really scared that my career would be completely over at that point.
I think the most challenging part of it was the timing. The diagnoses from the doctors is kind of vague. We thought he was getting better.
I was just thinking the whole time, I was like, why'd this have to happen to me? Like, I've been playing my whole life and all of a sudden I just can't play anymore right when I have the biggest opportunity of my life.
After like a month or two, I was like, okay, this really isn't going away at this point. And then eventually it's like, okay, there's no way I can practice right now, and there's no way I'm gonna be able to compete at TI because of how much time this has already taken away.
I think what kept me going after I got my injury was just, like hope. Like, hoping that it would heal and I'd be able to play again, because it's a huge motivator for me. It's like I had an injury and then I missed the biggest tournament of the year because of it on a team which I had a good shot. I just hoped my arm would heal and I'd have one more opportunity to get the championship.
I have so much respect for Clinton and all the time he has put into this game, and if anybody deserves to win the international, it's him.
Fear, coming off of a pretty serious injury, does it do anything for the confidence of the whole team having him back and a part of it?
I think everyone on our team has the utmost faith in him to be a strong player that we know he can be. He's also our carry player, so a lot of the game rests on his ability to help us win.
When Fear rejoined EG after his injury, I really look up to the way he made that team function. I think a lot of it was on him, and he didn't get the kind of credit from the outside that I think he should have gotten.
They just need a couple of kills to be TI5 champions. Fear, fully wicked sick. They're going to bring in the Titanic as well for Fear while this push continues.
Clinton has like a huge amount of experience, and I think he puts really good use to it. Whenever people ask me, like, is there any player you look up to? I mean, for sure, the way he played a core role for EG, that's a way I can only hope to play.
It looked rough dropping down the lower bracket. They have persevered, and they will claim the Aegis of the Immortal. They are the champions here in front of their home crowd.
Right after we won, and we're holding the trophy up in front of the crowd, everyone was cheering. We're on like home soil as well, so like it was just insane. Everyone was yelling USA, USA. We just sat there and just like took it all in. Didn't really have much to say. We were just kind of like enjoying the feeling.
Give it up for your TI5 champions, Evil Geniuses!
I mean, at the current state in time, it means a lot, but 10 years from now, will people remember me? Probably not, to be honest with you. But the fact that in this moment that I dedicated so much of my life to be a champion, it means a lot to me, so I'll never forget it.
Point for the upper bracket semifinals. Tong Fu taking on the fan favorite Na'Vi.
When we picked Baijian Chen, we were sure we're gonna crush the game early on.
Navi's trialing. No, they pick it. They took the punch. You can see Dendy smiling right now. Oh, yes. He wanted it bad, and Puppy gave it to him.
Yeah, for some reasons, that game it didn't work out.
Vacuum back into the call down. Dendy biting up more than he can chew. He will be cleaned up now. Puppy caught out in the middle of the fight.
We were getting stronger and stronger.
In this point of the game, there is nothing else in the whole game that can change anything.
And Tong Fu is beginning to grind Na'Vi down. They got a 5-kill lead, right around 5,000 gold to their advantage.
This is really troublesome for Na'Vi.
The game was on the edge, and we could lose it like any moment. I was sure about that. We knew we needed to do something, so we started to try something out.
Tong Fu is going to continue to push. They're not done. Mech still hasn't even been used. There's a hook. Howell brought all the way back to the base. Cleaned up by the fountain.
但是突然被勾的时候，其实一开始，因为那局我们优势很大嘛，一开始我觉得也没什么，下次注意点就行了。
Dendy said, this is the only way we can win the game. Us two, just doing that stupid stuff. I was like, all right, let's go.
Dendy's gonna try it again. Can he? Got him that time. See you in the base move.
Whenever I saw enemy around, I would ask Papi TP me. He would TP me and I would try hooking.
Oh, there we go, the hook, got him!
Fountain hook, fountain hook, fountain hook. It would continue. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? Just keep it up.
然后结果他不停的go，就感觉怎么说呢？就感觉很神奇吧。
Tong Fu didn't know what to do. Like they actually screwed up quite a lot.
It's hard to stay calm. Mentally, you're panicking. Apocalypse is happening in your head.
He just goes to Tong Fu.
Gyrocopter as Aegis to siege high ground, Everybody knows the simple road to victory. The game should be done as simple, but he just got removed.
Oh, he got him! He got him! They're on their feet, they're chanting! All it took was one fountain hook.
Powell playing Gyrocopter could have simply just TP'd after the hook. He could have just TP'd back home.
然后最后就是被勾回去了，2条命死了，然后就导致最后的一个比赛输掉嘛，就非常的遗憾。
The fact of the matter is, like a player that was on point probably would have still won that game as Gyrocopter. Probably should have never gotten hooked. Probably. But DOTA is a lot like life, Shit happens. You have to deal with it.
Hooking Tong Fu players with Chen teleport was one of the most amazing things that I've done. It was vicious, and I was part of it.
I was very angry watching the game. It's not really so much against Na'Vi as against the rules.
A lot of people were saying it's very unfair or Ron. We came into the player lounge and I saw DOTA screaming.
Remove that from the game. That was the biggest joke I've ever seen. The biggest fucking joke I've ever seen.
There's these rules about bug abuse, but what is bug abuse and what is not. I'm still a bit salty about it, I think.
Like, how can you win? How can you even be allowed to win that way? Kung Fu had that game. Is that balanced? You hook a guy with Aegis? It should be. Oh my fucking god.
It's not fair. It's not fair. Disqualification.
Yeah, he was definitely like, you guys don't deserve it or something like that. And they're like, whatever, dude.
Let them try this thing. They can do it, go on, try this thing.
You have to respect the skill that it took for those fountain hooks to happen. If it was completely broken and super easy to do, everyone would be doing it. They weren't afraid to try it or make it happen.
I was sure the game was fair, even after I heard those screamings.
因为在我们那个中国人眼里，就是觉得输了就是输了，就是不会说因为它全水沟是一个可能相对来说比较不太平衡的一个东西吧，然后会去埋怨什么东西。我们就觉得输了就是我们自己技不如人吧，包括国内的也都会觉得对方会觉得对方打得厉害，不会说因为这个东西太 bug 了或者怎么着。
这也是下一年赢得 TI 的一个原因吧，但是当时我没有找他们讨论过这个问题吧，我怕提起他们的伤心事，他们打我。
Some exploits are fun and good. This was one of them. Maybe a bit too strong, but still.
It was too strong.
就之后削掉的倒是就是没什么了嘛。
You can discredit the game, but in reality, like, DOTA is still the same. You can still win games in the most weird ways that haven't been seen or done.
It's the same for everyone, so it's fair for everyone, and it's just kind of a part of the way DOTA tournaments go.
She's very active, smiley, happy, all the time energized. You think, wow, where does she get all this energy?
The thing is, we're gonna draft. Let's go. Neon up against Atlantis. Game 1 draft underway. A Marcy ban from Neon, and for Atlantis, they're like, no, screw you, Batrider. We want to make sure there's no possibility of this one getting picked up.
I could have been lying and you just would have eaten it up, right? Like I lied straight to your face. No, I do play tennis, but all right. So what are they going to look to ban out here? Again, I like this. The lane dominators getting removed from the hero pool. I think they're just going to focus everything onto Enryu. So I want to see if Neon change up their strategy a little bit. Like I was saying before, they like to give Enryu that, let's call it uncounterable pick, because they really rely on him to win the lanes super comfortably and then use that to carry the game. So will they switch things up? Just because I feel like if they leave this until the second phase, you're going to have 5 of Enryu's heroes not available, and then with the ones that he's got left that he's capable of playing and really fulfilling that lane dominating role, then they're going to be able to counter it preemptively. I like the fact that they've gotten rid of the Marcy though. On Neon, we saw yesterday with T1, they were able to flex the Marcy to multiple positions and have a good amount of impact. Same sort of thing with the Primal Beast. So, and then just picking up a nice flexible hero in the Death Prophet. Of course, it can just be put into the position 3 role super reliably. Come on, Chuan, you can't not like this. This is we're one pick into the draft. You've got to expect the DP's coming. She's kind of busted right now.
Interesting. So we saw in South America, their answer to the Death Prophet was the Ancient Apparition. And it started to get to a stage where as soon as the DP was picked up, teams would have to ban the AA because of how well they were actually performing in this matchup. So has not translated down into Southeast Asia just yet. And Neon, it feels like they're kind of avoiding this Death Prophet in a way where they're just playing with their own strategy, going Chen and an Earthshaker at the first phase.
Seconds remaining.
Do we like the double supports? I don't.
No, not really. Look, I do like Chen and Earthshaker together, I think that is a good support combo, but I don't.
They do cover
like,
each other's weaknesses pretty well, don't they?
Yeah, they very much do. Chen not having the capability to hold anyone into place, and Earthshaker very much fulfills that. You have Tower push coming out for the Chen. Earthshaker does not. A little bit of team fight.
Earthshaker's the team fight. Chen's the push. Chen's strong early game. Shaker's strong mid to late game, right? Shaker so useless in the laning stage. I hate this hero, but we'll see if Playheart's able to get a good amount of success with it. I mean, this is such a formidable lane already with the Death Prophet and the Tiny. Maybe not so much against the Chen, and again, it's going to be dependent on what creeps you're able to get. So we saw yesterday when the Chen was being picked up, even though they, I believe it was it Neon that was playing it? I think it was, right? And they actually had Seth move away into the jungle. He ended up killing the Satyr Mindstealer creep. I think every single opportunity that you've got to get that, as soon as you're level 3, you just got to get it and run to the lane, because you might be slowing down your farm a little bit, but the impact that it's going to have on your position 1 getting a ton more farm because they don't have the damage and the resources to be able to harass them down with mana is just going to be way too strong. You're very happy as a position 5 to hinder your own farm a little bit if it's just going to affect one of your heroes significantly in a positive way and 2 enemy heroes significantly negatively.
What direction do we feel like Neon are going to go down here with the 15th? Because they have to reel something. So like a core has to be picked up now. Do you feel like you would prefer Fortune Souls hero to be played because you more than likely see the offlane from Atlantis?
Just trying to think of what they're looking to go for here. Like, look at these bans. I mean, it suggests that there's going to be a Viper potentially picked up, right? No Timber, no Bristleback in the pool, so maybe they're just wanting to maybe bait out a hero from Atlantis here. Beastmaster coming through instead. I mean, I don't hate that either. Obviously, strength hero into the Timber Saw doesn't feel great. Physical damage from the Bristleback. Night Stalker just able to eat the creep as long as you get the Aghanim Shard. So it feels quite nice. I don't feel super strongly about the Beastmaster paired together with the Shaker, though. It's not the greatest synergy unless Playhard's able to get an excellent block off with his Fisher.
Yeah, I've got big concerns that they can just exploit the lane now. I think Earthshaker Beastmaster is very, very weak, and Beastmaster is a hero that needs to have a good early game to keep the tempo. Otherwise, if you're farming, trying to get this home of the Overlord, you're a hero that can be very much neglected, and the enemy team doesn't have to worry about you. So I'm always a big fan if the Beastmaster is able to come online early, and that really starts off the back of the laning phase. But the Earthshaker will not help out there at all. So I think Atlantis have a big window now to be able to shut down Enryu.
So what do you think they're going to go? Do you think it's like a PA plus a Wyvern or something like that? PA just because it's good in the lane against the Beastmaster, it forces him to go into the axes as opposed to the boars. Even if you get blocked off by the Fisher, you can blink back to safety. And Wyvern's going to be pretty good at dealing with the Chen plus Beastmaster creeps when they do eventually come.
Face the light.
It is the Dawnbreaker. I mean, physical damage does feel kind of nice against the Beastmaster, able to really reliably deal with that. Again, just something else that's going to be able to get over the Fisher by using the Celestial Hammer as a bit of an escape tool. So I don't mind this.
It's nice as well because it feels like Neon at the moment are going to like heavily commit onto one hero to try and blow them up. Fissure into... Whoa.
Okay.
This is something that we see a little bit out of Mango Rose. Like, he does like his unconventional position ones.
Does indeed. I mean, when I think Mango Rose unconventional, I think the Wind Ranger, but Clinks is definitely the one that comes to the front as well. I mean, against the Beastmaster, as long as you got the Death Pact, it does feel kind of nice as well. A little bit of a counter against it. And a Dawnbreaker just to stand in the front lines. Kind of nice, just as that really durable hero. And again, like, you're against a Shaker. This is something that's going to be super reliable for yourself. You would assume that they're going to be banning out heroes like the Lina coming through soon for Neon. Against the Quap, it really doesn't feel all that great. Puck's already gone, so you don't have to deal with that mess. But, I mean, Void Spirit's still pretty solid in terms of the AoE damage. If you're comfortable with getting off that Slide of Fist, you're going to be able to use your... in the lane to be able to dodge out the Shadow Strike. It's going to be nice for when the eventual Death Ball does come from the Chen and the Beastmaster.
I think Conquer's also something else you can consider about banning. because of the, like you mentioned, the death ball. So it was pretty well in the lane versus the Queen of Pain. Yeah, I definitely think there's other routes.
You could potentially Zeus as well. They don't have amazing catch. Jump away if they try and go on you. You've got Eve coming through from the Dawnbreaker. The lane should be fine enough as well. I'm just thinking comfort for Wonderboy, what he might look to pick up against this Quap. But yeah, Void, Ember, Kunkka, Zeus, they're at the top of my pool at the moment. Ember's gone. Respecting Wonderboy's individual skill. Players would be coming up against each other a whole lot in the good old C pubs.
10 seconds remaining.
I know exactly what they're going to be worried about. And like you said, Wonderboy's spirits is something that he's very comfortable on. Kind of the playmaker here for Atlantis, and something they'll need out of him again in a game like this, where Tiny, if it more than likely, I mean, you're not going to play it into the Queen of Pain matchup, so Tiny's a position 4 is going to take a little bit of time to get towards that blink. You know, the Death Prophet's very cooldown reliant with this Exo. When you have it available, you can have the team rally around you, but you want someone to be able to make plays when you don't have those cooldowns. So that's where this particular Wonderboy will be able to help out.
Any of these heroes that we've mentioned, right, are all able to do that. Maybe a little bit less so for the Zeus, not really the greatest playmaker, so perhaps someone like the Kunkka or the Void Spirit is still yet to come. Getting rid of the Invoker as well, which is a decent enough answer to the Quap. If you go the Quazo-X build and get a few points into Quas, the Cold Snap, be able to stun for long enough alongside the Urn to be able to lock in position. Mars instead, okay, well, it is a way to suppose to be able to clear out these lanes too. Gonna go for like a 5 Mars, are they? I'm just thinking of other potential options. You assume it's just gonna be mid though. It's a Morphling coming through, okay. So some a bit unconventional picks coming through here to be able to finish off with. It is, hold on, is it a Wonderboy Death Prophet? Yeah, it is. Okay, so Mars being played in the off lane instead. I thought it might have been going mid.
Interesting. Yeah, okay, this is really interesting because the Morphling likes playing to the Mars. This should be a pretty good matchup for Fortune Soul in the side lane. So I wonder why they feel like they needed to swap this around, because I really don't like Mars Tiny. I've said this plenty of times with us casting together. I think Mars needs to be paired with a ranged hero and someone that's able to toss a crap load of damage inside the arena. I do not think Tiny fulfills that role. So I'm a bit concerned about this last pick from Atlantis. I mean, it's looking like quite a Morphling game.
Even just these heroes to be able to deal with the eventual death ball, right? Like, you don't want to use the exorcism when you're trying to, like, retreat or potentially stop a push, because all that Neon need to do is just stop pushing until the exorcism actually comes off, right? And until you're going to get the Blink Dagger on the Tiny or the Mars, you're not going to be able to stop that retreat. So feels a little counterintuitive. The timings are a little bit off for me, where they're not just all linking up at the exact same time on Atlantis, and it really requires Clinks to actually be there in the middle of a team fight with that Maelstrom to be able to properly address this this push. I'm slightly favoring Neon on here. Big draft up until that last pick, but well, happy to be proven wrong.
And for Neon, this is something that they've run as well so far. In game 1 versus RSG, we saw them pull out the Earthshaker and the Morphling. Of course, they weren't able to have success on it. That game was over in 37 minutes, but it's obviously something that they have a little bit more priority on so far, especially with the buffs to the Morphling and how popular the Earthshaker is at the moment. And again, like we kind of touched on towards the end of that draft, it's a pretty good Morphling game. Like, there are a couple of stuns that he has to be worried about, none that I mean, really, the concern, I think, is going to be the blink timing from the Tiny. That's really when they're going to be able to get on top of Fortune Soul and potentially blow him up before the attribute shift, but should be able to react before the Mars spear. So, yeah, I think this is looking like a pretty good game here for Morphling to thrive on.
30 seconds to battle!
Have you done your predictions? You got 30 seconds.
I have not.
Okay, so while you do those, for the people in chat, we're looking at total number of teleports cancelled by a stun in 25 minutes. I said 2. Probably a little bit low, but whatever. Total number of Roche kills, I think just because you've got a Chen Beastmaster draft, could be quick, so I said 0 to 2. first player to get 50 last hits. I said Mango Rose on his clinks, and first blood to happen 3 to 6 minutes. I was considering changing it really quickly as they went for this kill attempt super early on. But, I'm sticking with 3 to 6 minutes here.
Yeah, I was hovering over for as long as I could. I'm like, I don't know. There's some action breaking out. I might want to go for that first selection. First option if there was a kill, but not to be, as the bounty runes do go 3 to the way of Atlantis. So we're already off to a pretty good start as we take a look at how this mid lane's able to shape up. So we were mentioning kind of a little bit surprised about this Death Prophet being flexed into the mid lane versus the Queen of Pain. How do we think this is going to match up between Avatar Mode and Wonder Boy?
It comes down to a bit of a skill issue, right? Not issue, but skill determinant, because they've got the exact same damage right now. 55 plus 2, 57 if my AU maths isn't incorrect. And it's just going to come down to like, how are you going to be able to use those spirit siphons? How are you going to be able to use the blink? How do you want to level things up in order, right? Because you get a spirit siphon off early on when it's only got the one charge, you just blink away, and then you don't actually have a way to be able to regenerate in lane. Then you can get a bit more aggressive on Avatar Mode. Then you know, toss a Shadow Strike onto him and he can't really deal with that quite so easily.
Yeah, it's really interesting that Avatar Mode went Scream level 1. I wonder if this is to help secure with that CS, because you just mentioned the damage between the Death Prophet and the Queen of Pain is very, very even. But this is a lane where I feel like you are looking to max out your dagger versus the Death Prophet. This is a hero that doesn't particularly sustain too well through it. You mentioned that you can always blink out a Spirit Siphon, so the Scream one.
Well, he's already got 2 range creep denies, so I'd say Avatar Mode knows exactly what he's doing. He's already opened up a little bit of that experience lead over Wonder Boy once these creeps do come together. So, a nice job so far.
Take a look how top's gone. We spoke about Enryu and his importance to Neon. Our concerns with maybe how this Beastmaster and the Earthshaker lane would shape up. And it's looking okay for the moment. Definitely does seem like this could be quite a kill lane for Atlantis, as we're already seeing Ponyo threatening with the level 2. Fisher's gonna hold back the Starbreaker, but Ponyo's still got another round of the ability to use Celestial Hammer out forward. But Enryu's able to get some distance, and the Clinks will not continue in pursuit. So Enryu will take a crap load of damage, but at least he'll stay alive.
Well, he's got 1 tango remaining, play hard. In the meantime, he did get off the stun to be able to disrupt that a little bit, and it's going to get this pull happening. Of course, this is what happens when you're going up against a Dawnbreaker. Such a strong laner, even into something like a Beastmaster, which is very capable. But now that he's level 2, he's got the Call of the Wild Boar just to try and harass away the Dawn a little bit. Want to get Henry up to that level 3, get him into the Helm of the Iron Will timing as quickly as possible. Meantime, though, Mango Rose
taking a lot of damage here. Tiny and Mars, they'll be able to find first blood. It was a beautiful toss back from Ayad into WS. They get the combo out, and enough to kill off the Chen. So great repositioning coming through from Atlantis, and they're able to find first blood.
That is the one positive thing about this lane, right? I know you don't really like the double melee. You haven't really seen it have too much success, but toss into spear, multiple ways to be able to reposition in the lane, which makes it feel quite strong.
Yeah, I think one thing we haven't seen, I mean, they only tried it once, but the toss into speed back under the tower, that's always something that you do have in your arsenal. It does kind of depend on the pre-position. We might see it now, or went for the creep wave instead with the toss on Ayad, but still, WS has got the level 3 to play with. Says in a lot of trouble, and there's not much Fortune Soul can work due to offset this. Ayad's going to be able to cut off the escape, and Atlantis really off to a good start down bottom.
Yeah, this is not what you want. You want to make sure that you're able to secure that lane as much as possible as the Chen, and well, 2 early kills, especially kills before that 3-minute mark, so my predictions are going to really put a bit of a damper on things. And with this, Ayad, he's making a movement towards the mid lane, trying to help protect the power rune as much as possible. Enryu actually dies before he's able to get that Helm of Iron Will delivered, really emphasizing the impact that it's going to have. Through from play hard though to be able to protect this top side, actually ends up taking it away from the Quap. Not sure if that was the best choice. Got an empty bottle.
And he gets the bounty as well. He's like, yeah, it's a bit of...
Oh, they got the courier as well. Ponyo killed the courier with the Helm of the Iron Will. I mean, things are really not going well for Neon.
quick start at all. I mean, this is, you got to kill down bottom as well as Ayat. The avalanche from the tree line. No way. What is going on? Atlantis. What a start for them. I mean, now you're looking Avatar mode. Like, this has to be the man to try and turn this early game around. It's really not looking good for Neon.
No, it's not, and I feel like the DP is happy again just to get this net worth. Like I was saying before, your level 7 timing is what you're looking for initially on the DP, then level 12, 50. You've got pretty significant gaps between those, but he's almost about to hit onto that level 7. Already only 5 minutes in, gonna have the EXO potential. If there's any silver lining that comes out of that death on the Morphling, it means that Sez able to get up onto that level 3. So he believe he's got the Bassi ring coming out to him, which is going to be nice. Means that he can jungle a little bit more reliably, and he knows that there's that mana burn creep available in the jungle because he previously took the Satyr Banisher. Like I was saying during the draft, I want to see him pick this up, bring it to the lane, make sure Tiny doesn't have the mana pool to be able to consistently go for these gank attempts onto the Morphling, and just secure his lane a lot more easily.
And it will even kind of shut down the Tiny's rotations potentially to mid as well. Because if they're able to get that combo maybe into a kill into the Queen of Pain, all of a sudden you open up the threat of being able to take the tower with the exorcism. And it does feel like both sides are kind of reading that the position 4s are going to be making a lot of movements this game, though. You take a look at Dai's vision in particular, one by the bottom power room, another one to the left side of the Roche pit, which does scout out play hard moving over, but Ponyo is able to secure with a haste rune. Meanwhile, Wonderboy is onto Seb, but will have no follow-up as Ayat is a little bit too far away to get the avalanche off.
Did get the bounty rune though, and this is what I'm looking for from Seb. Come on, Satyr Mindstealer, it's there, it's waiting for you. After he picks this one up, man, I'm just not sure what the holdup is. It just does so much to be able to stop the tempo. There we go, finally picking it up, bringing it mid. Even if he's able to toss that out onto the Death Prophet, it feels kind of nice just to make that lane a bit easier.
Some trouble here. Nicely done. Mango Rose. Ponyo was at a position where he could block off the Earthshaker's kind of avenue out of the lane. And very close to the T1 tower. Was able to land that Starbreaker. Ponyo's already up to level 4, so yeah, both supports from Atlantis off to a good start. And you even see Ayat playing up top as well. This WS down bottom almost goes down. A quick TP out. Fortune Soul was looking for a nice 1v1 victory with that replicate.
Been able to get some of these little pulls off again, just making sure that you hit your timings on Atlantis as quickly as possible. It's a pretty quick rush of the Maelstrom coming through here from Mango Rose. Does he already have the Javelin on the career? Yes, he does. So make sure he's got the raindrops as well for a little bit of that sustain, realizing that Quap could potentially rotate towards his lane around the timing of the Beastmaster hitting up onto that level 6, so he wants to be ready. It's going to be great to be able to deal with the Death Ball. Of course, even if the lanes don't go too great, you've still got that potential to just rally around all of these units and push on forward as a unit. But if a Clinks is there with that Burning Barrage, it does stop a lot of that early tempo.
Yeah, it really feels like Neon that they need to execute a tower siege very early, because Clinks is a hero that I know we haven't seen for quite some time, but he flash farms incredibly fast now with this Burning Barrage, the Maelstrom build, so he's going to fall back and look to take the jungle pretty shortly once he gets that Maelstrom, and going to try and see if Atlantis look to start to make some stacks for him for the moment. Tiny's not the easiest hero. They do already have a double stack at the Ancients, though, at least.
Okay, something. Tiny just going straight for that Blink Dagger after the boots. Already 600 gold towards it. Of course, Clink's taking the stacks is going to help him out a little bit. We got this first smoke coming out here from Wonderboy. That level 7 timing I was talking about.
Yes,
so just looking to
I
try and connect through. Yeah, there's a nice scan. Able to find him out. Still coming with his full treads, but let's see what the positioning is like coming through from the Morphling. And yeah, Fortune Soul completely backing off here, so might end up losing the tower for this, but much better than losing that plus a Morphling on top of things.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
If they want to commit.
Lucky DD rune for mid Avatar mode. Put as much pressure on while he can, even having this Hill Troll Priest here to potentially heal up the creep that's tanking the tower.
Top lane, Mango Rose in a bit of trouble. Playhard, great fissure block. He gets the detection off as well. Mango Rose will be playing with the Quelling Blade if he can come through the tree line, but look at Neon's positioning, making sure there's no opportunity for him to find that path to escape. And back to mid lane we go. They have TP'd in to try and defend the tower on Atlantis. They will force Avatar mode out of the neighborhood.
Going to be able to do any damage to this top tower is the real question that I have, though. You've got Enryu with the Helm of the Dominator, so covering after that laning stage that didn't go super well, and yeah, that should be enough for them to be able to push in, take this early tower, enable a lot more space for Fortune Soul to be able to play around.
Atlantis doing a very good job at trying to secure these runes. Even Neon is starting to bring the extra support in Seth to try and enable this. He's got a Sonic Wave and jump in. Avatar mode. Gotta be a little bit cautious here. Ayad will get the toss damage out. That's gonna help to secure the kill. And Aponyo with the wraparound on WS. Wonderboy gets the double kill. And now they've got the arena if they feel required to drop it onto play hard. He's just going to hold them back for the moment, but WS has got the movement speed to close the distance. Arena's out, and Wonderboy finds the triple kill on the Death Prophet.
Wonderboy of Atlantis, just call him Aquaman. He is coming through, having a really strong start to the game. Even just backed up with this Arcane Rune means that he's ready. He's able to fight, still already having 2.5 charges on that Spirit Siphon. I want to see him just bait an early blink out of Avatar mode here. Nearly gets stunned immediately after TPing to the lane. Good boy. TP coming in. Not really that scared to play hard, especially while that Sonic Wave is still off cooldown. It's an odd usage of it, right? Uses it, doesn't clip onto the Tiny, then blinks in. Ends up getting a 1-for-1 trade, but you're very happy with trading a Tiny for the enemy's mid laner.
So Tiny, who's been involved in 5 out of the 8 kills, 3, 1, and 2 from Ayad. Having a very, very solid start off the back of the lane, made some great rotations. Now he's going to threaten for a relatively decent blink timing. They will need to give him a lane shortly, though. There's going to be their playmaking, especially with WS. He's going BKB first item on the Mars, so they're going to put a lot of emphasis on just Atlantis, maybe just brute forcing down towers with Exo, or then relying for the Tiny to get a pretty decent blink timing.
Yeah, I think the other thing is they just want someone that feels comfortable to walk in first and be able to drop one of these big ultimates, right? Because the Death Ball is coming. They've got the Chen, they've got the Beastmaster coming through. You've at least been able to, on the Clinks, be able to pick up that Maelstrom. He went first item Maelstrom, not into the power treads. Means that you're going to be able to respond to this quite easily, but you still need someone to start the fight for you.
Sydney on it. At least going to look to invade the jungle from Atlantis. I'll take a double stack on the medium camp. Nothing too crazy. Giving play hard. He's level 6 now. Says very close to his level 6 as well. Ponyo's going to scout this out. Just keeping tabs on Neon's position. But it does look like they're considering about wrapping on mid. This tower is low. See what Atlantis can do to protect it.
They know that there's a Hawk around. They wouldn't be able to hit the tower from the tree line like that if they didn't. There, Ponyo kind of in a really aggressive position here. He wants to be able to respond with the Solar Guardian if needed, and he might even just be going for a backline hit with the Ogre Bruiser onto the tower. Won't be enough though.
It's like Atlantis going to look to try and reclaim their jungle. They've got a great ward on the high ground that scouts out play hard. They know exactly where the Earthshaker's positioning at the moment. Not going to be easy for them to get the toss back, so instead they'll just look to avoid his location and go back to farming. Ayad sees a free lane up top, and they successfully defended their tier 1 tower mid for the moment. We feel like Neon is still going to butt their heads here very shortly.
Yeah, for sure. WS, so Haystream being popped for mid. Play hard, looking to try and get into position with the Fisher. Enough having the Tumbler's Toy as well. Clutch Echo Slam off. He's saving his gold for the Blink Dagger. I don't hate this either, you know, just to be able to... I know I said before that he needs someone to be able to go in first to enable the Clinks to have a proper fight, to enable the DP to have a proper fight. But DP's fairly farmed. You know, Wonderboy with that triple kill that he got in the mid lane. He's already got the Kaya going into the Kaya and Sanj. So as long as you've got that pick-up potential, I suppose, outside of the... I suppose both the Morphling and the Quap can look to get away, but Beastmaster's really the one that you're trying to take down.
Gonna roar out from Enry onto just Ayad. Slide means that Tiny is in an awkward position to get any help. Finally, TP is going to come through from Ponyo, but he's really just moving up to try and defend the lane and get a little bit of golden experience. We'll see what they can do now from Neon. This is 15 seconds where they have a window to be able to take the T1 tower, and you see them instantly pivoting their attention over to the mid lane.
I mean, it's like 2 hits away. They're not looking to try and not commit as many heroes as they can, and they eventually end up getting it. This is the good thing about the support Dawnbreaker, though, right? You feel super comfortable about putting her up into this dangerous lane up on the top side because you're in position 5 at the end of the day. Maxed out Celestial Hammer just keeps the lane pushed in, and you're going to be able to join any team fights that happen with the use of the Solar Guardian. Soul trying to chase him down, though. They have a Hawk about to come through from Enryu, 2 seconds away. I don't think there's going to be any juking happening. Unless he goes straight down. Oh, Ponyo. No TP, though. Wasting time.
Oh, he's going to see the hammer. The position of Ponyo, not like
not
this.
The burning hammer.
Oh, no. Space. Maybe kind of a little bit. I mean, they're not particularly getting much out of the map. It does look like they're trying to get themselves in a position to wrap on mid. We see play hard in the tree line. WS is going to be able to blink on forward, and Mango Rose and Ayada nearby to be able to clean up the kill. They've got a catapult and a double damager and a Wonder Boy, so they need to chain this on objective now on Atlantis.
Why wouldn't they? You know, the stuns are pretty lacking without that. They also know that the Morph isn't going to be up there, having previously been there. They've still got this really great Observer Ward scouting out all the movement coming through from there, as well as Enryu. Ponyo just puts himself back on this top lane, slows down the push. A lot of people say space like it's a meme, but it is legitimate space that Ponyo is doing. You're committing 2 cores to try and kill position 5, and it took them 40 seconds to be able to do so. This is a Beastmaster. This is a hero that needs to consistently be pushing forward. Weren't able to do so. Instead, you lose a tier 1 tower. Net worth differential is going to be heavily favoring Atlantis off the back of that. Bottom lane being pushed in a little bit here by Mango Rose, making sure as he farms up multiple creeps at the same time, he keeps this bottom lane pressured. You want to make more defensive movements come out from any kind of death ball hard push lineup, because if they're defending, they're not using the death ball effectively.
USA bottom's in a little bit of trouble. Agshard already picked up on the Earthshaker as soon as he could find it, play hard, back down this route once again. Wonder what Neon can look to do, though, because they do have some very, very good vision inside Atlantis' top jungle. So do you feel like Neon are in a position to maybe smoke and play aggressive and look to claim this area?
I was thinking they were previously, just because they knew the exorcism had been used to be able to take the mid tower, but they made the movement down bot instead just to kind of deny the Mars a little bit. I feel like, yeah, I agree with you. I think they perhaps should have gone a little bit more into Atlantis' side of the map, but there is that issue that I was talking about before, that if you don't address this bottom lane, then it's going to get pushed in by the Clinks. You might end up losing a tier 2 tower, the first tier 2 tower of the game, despite having by far the stronger pushing lineup.
But you've got this the Overlord now from Enryu, so you definitely want to be playing top, because Neon have the opportunity to either get a tower or the Roche objective. Looks like they'll get the kill off the back of this, as well as Ponyo still will be able to fly over the fissure. The Dawnbreaker's okay, so this has now given Atlantis a lot of information to play with. That means that one, Mango Rose is free to continue farming bottom, but now they can think if they feel like they have the capability to defend top. Alright, he's just going to send Wonder Boy directly into the middle. It's onto the Chenem. No one else is really nearby to protect Seth at the moment. Should be an easy pickings off to the right side, though the Mars is in a little bit of trouble. The Solar Guardian's going to come out. A defensive use of the arena as well, keeping WS alive for the moment. They're chucking everything they possibly can to secure the kill on the Mars, but WS is just shrugging it off, moonwalking back to the safety of the team, but finally they secure the kill, and now they can turn their attention over to Wonderboy. Let's play hard. Pogo 6 on 4, but they just don't have the damage. Death Prophet is A-okay for the moment, but they've got to be cautious though. They're kind of the Spirit Siphon, and now they should be able to get the kill,
Nice
but
denied.
Mango Rose finds a deny. At least a silver lining for Atlantis, but they still lose multiple heroes at this mid-skirmish.
Kind of busted how tanky the Chen was in all of that. Just the 1 point in the Divine Favor, but he gets off the mech, he gets the full one charges off. And even just, it was good individual play coming through, using the Wild Wing Ripper to push himself that little bit further away, making sure that he didn't get full comboed by the Dawnbreaker on top of his head. Big props to Set, just putting himself in the most dangerous position and reaping the rewards of Hymnals and being able to take this early Roshan.
Radiance to blame.
And there was such a big timing though for Neon with the Ag shot on the Earthshaker, with the Helm of the Overlord, on the Beastmaster. Like, you were ready to go. You wanted to take a team fight, because if you win the team fight, you can then get a T2 Tower, or you can then get Roche. And we see Neon, their recognition, like, this is what we were asking before, Daniel. We're like, how are they going to look to use these wards in the jungle? And those wards kind of scouted out Atlantis' positioning early on, and then moving their forces to mid lane. So Neon do a very good job to be able to capitalize with their vision, which now completely opens up the map with this Aegis.
Ponyo is going to be able to be there to stop this push somewhat, clearing out the range creep, clearing out the melees. So, know if they're going to be able to consistently keep this push going. The creep should die. Melee creep actually did end up falling there.
They get the jump into the arena. Iyad should have the perfect use of the chain control, so Mango Rose can get him with the Gleipnir. A big kill for them to find onto Wonderboy, and this will continue to put some pressure onto the bottom tower.
It will. They've got another, 12 seconds left without the glyph being used. With this siege creep wave as well, they probably should be able to claim this one, even using the scan for that potential. So good recognition by Atlantis of what they have the potential to get. Get a glyph off before it dies. Yes, they will. Such value coming through. Look to stick around now. Really want to be able to take this, but you will still get the glyph refresh off here.
Look at the positioning, Neon with the backstab. Anticipating Atlantis, retreating back to the triangle.
I like it. I like it a lot. Fresh smoke being used as well.
Play hard.
Maria coming from Klink so that they know he's still around that area.
Arena though is going to make it difficult for them to take the fight, Atlantis, if they want to. They do have EXO up. Be cautious. 25 seconds until WS is ready to fight. Neon, they're well aware of this. Still posturing aggressively inside their territory.
I mean, they just say, but I mean, we've got a Chen, we've got a Beastmaster, we've got Helm of the Overlord, we've got Aegis. They got to respond to us now. I mean, we gave up a tier 2 tower, but they're in much greater danger than us. Ooh, big Courier kill though. Does kind of feel like it's worth to use the glyph here. I mean, this movement's coming through a little bit too late. That tower's always gone down completely.
We're gonna see the Earthshaker. Finally get confirmation of him being in the tree line. So a quick and easy kill, and the rest of Radiant, they split away. They're making sure that no one else is caught out in this skirmish. And Ryu will also TP out in the tree line. He's going to be okay.
You're lucking out a little bit. I've seen him use the trusty shovel multiple times, and he just keeps getting these mangoes. You know, the position 5 Dawnbreaker isn't flush with cash, so the Soul Ring, much more expensive these days. He wants to get straight into that Aghanim Scepter as a pretty solid response to a lot of the physical damage that's going to be coming out from Neon in, the next 10 or so minutes. You know, you think of the Chen army, you think of the Beastmaster with the Helm of the Overlord crit, you think of a Morphling who's almost exclusively physical damage these days. That evasion is going to do wonders. While away, though.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Confirmation, Enchant Totem does not pierce evasion anymore, right? No. That doesn't have True Strike? Yeah. Well, I'll hold that thought, because Neon, they're thinking about walking up the high ground here. They still have Aegis for another minute.
They know the glyph was used, so they know that they don't have this refresh. Just like, all right, let's try and bait some movements out. They're having to respond to us. It means that they're not farming. I mean, Mango Rose, he is still doing a pretty damn good job at being able to pick a lot of this up. He's nearly level 18, and he's nearly got that BKB, so that's probably going to synergize around the same time that this Aegis is expiring, and prior to the Morphling having that Skadi. So next 2 or so minutes feels like such a big timing coming through from Atlantis to be able to win a team fight and then, hopefully for their sake, punish Neon for not being able to completely convert with this early game draft.
It does feel like for Neon, with their lineup, they have to drop every single ability to blow up the Death Prophet, and now having the Scepter almost completed onto Ponyo is going to make it that much more difficult. Can you see Neon being able to kill the DP, or are they going to need another couple items to be able to help kind of deal with the Scepter that's almost done?
I think if you get the Skadi on the Morphling, it becomes a little bit easier just because of the healing reduction coming through. But in that time, you're going to probably have the BKB on Wonderboy. So even not necessarily the healing to be able to protect him, but just the evasion to provide him that extra couple of seconds that he needs to be able to pop the BKB outside of the stun lock. And then you get the Spirit Siphons off and you're feeling pretty okay. He's even got the Pupil's Gift as well, so tons of extra HP coming through. Just a casual 300 HP that you get holding onto the Pupil's Gift on the DP.
Look at the jump on the high ground. No hesitation from Neon. They see a free kill and they're going to jump on that opportunity. Dawnbreak is down. And they'll force Atlantis back now to defend, but they know the glyph has been expended, so this will be a lot of damage into the tower.
No, Mango Rose feels like he needs to farm, but he used the Burning Barrage there onto an Ancient stack instead, and it's going to be about 9 seconds until he's got available. At least the boy able to put himself in there onto the front lines to try and push this back a little bit, but it did feel like they needed Mango Rose to make sure that that tier 3 tower didn't take so much damage. They're going to look to abuse every opportunity that they can on Neon to be able to find a way to breach this high ground.
Even with that Aegis, there we go. Smoke up, you got the Skadi now completed on the Morphling. Mango Rose is in the tree line to the left. It's going to be a perfect initiation. Oh, they don't miss here. Execution's on. Oh, he will not miss. Is he with the ankle slap and the damage? It's not there. And
they got the BKB going.
Turn it back around as Wonderboy pops here. They're going to charge on forward. Fortune Soul's in trouble. A waveform's available. Is going to be able to go back inside the lane, so both sides are okay for the moment, but WS is getting pummeled down. The right clicks from Enryu summons, and now he's going to jump on forward as well. Looking to try and clean up Ayat as Wonderboy. He's going to rejoin the party, but they spy out Mango Rose. Clinks dodging into the tree line, trying to land the Burning Barrage, but the damage again. It's not enough to bring down Fortune Soul. The Morphling will go toe to toe. Away from out to the left, Fortune Soul is going to be cautious though, but Enryu, he doesn't have a care in the world. A jump back in, does he have the damage though? Without the mana, Enryu can't get that finishing blow. Mango Rose is okay, and they will go back with the help of Wonderboy nearby. Mango Rose hits the dominating streak and will just get out.
Run from that big black dragon, he's gonna get you. I mean, there was just so many spells there that were slightly off the mark. Play hard, does he see it? Does he see it? No. Oh. Not quite. Yeah, just split in the middle of that second Burning Barrage. Not able to land the spear after a pretty nice tiny initiation onto that Morphling, and clearly see Fortune Soul, all of that damage still has the potential to come out, but you see the importance of just enabling Wonderboy to be able to get off that that exorcism, that BKB, right? It doesn't even need to provide that full impact of the heal coming through from the Dawnbreaker. Just a little bit is enough with that Holy Locket to make sure that the DP doesn't get burst down.
Great reactions from the Morphling. They're going to wait for much Wonderboy. They've blown up the Death Prophet. And now Neon, they can look for more kills. They're going to spy out WS in the river. Up to the left side, they control the clinks, but it's just holding Mango Rose into play so they can get him after they finish off the Mars. Neon, beautiful target prioritization, but they're lacking detection. That's one of their issues so far.
I think they're going to scout out the fact that he's going to try and cut one wave before he TPs away. I don't think so. Their mind is on pushing. Mango Rose just sticking around this bottom lane for a little bit, maybe checking if they've got any detection down there to enable him to keep playing, but here we go. So close to that Aghanim Scepter onto Ponyo, but they're going for the dive.
Positioning like that. The vision from long range, this is the beautiful thing about the Earthshaker. If anyone shows in close proximity, Earthshaker will always get that stun.
Burning Barrage to be able to stop this, but not enough. Black Dragon still able to slink away. Chen with the Aghanim Shard, just providing multiple of these ancient creeps to be able to hit in onto the base. And well, Prince might be able to deal with one, but not anything beyond that. Burning barrage arrows, realizing that it's not the attack range that you necessarily want. You just need to deal with this zoo.
Just gotta be cautious. Neon ushering nearby. They jump Mango Rose if there's any opportunity. We have a great ward and the Hawk nearby as well that's going to scout out Atlantis. We're going to empty the map and reclaim some of their jungle.
Almost 30 gold away from being able to pick up that Aghanim Scepter. He really wants this last creep wave. Enable him to get into that. He's like, guys, don't get into a really risky position. You can't afford to give this one up. I want this surprise aspect here, and Avatar mode, he's actually jumping in. No fear in the world. Arcane Rune bottled. He's got a DD at the ready. A BKB at the ready. Just looking to really take this map control away. The wraparound on Ayad. And off with enough time.
What do Atlantis need to do different in this next fight to kind of stem some of the momentum that Neon is starting to build?
I think they're ready, honestly, to have a big impact here. They ended up smoking underneath an observer ward, by the way. This is going to be called out right before the Roshan spawns. This is a really big fight. They need to make sure that they get onto probably the Beastmaster. I think that's going to take away a whole lot of their fighting potential.
Smokes on Bob and Enru. An instant use to the BKB along with Avatar to the arena is going to be completely wasted. And they'll jump to Wonderboy, trying to blow up the death puppet, but Ponyo will keep Wonderboy alive and then get rid of Fortune's Soul. Atlantis, this is their team fight now to win, but Avatar mode, he wants something else to say about it and jump in with the finishing blow, but look at the buybacks. Trying to into the outpost, but meanwhile, Enryu is completely isolated. The Morphling's going to be cautious, so there's the first time he just brought back Starbreaker. Fortune Soul just brought back, but he's okay. The Manta dodge into the Adjutant shift. Fortune Soul can look to play aggressive now. As Atlantis, they're on the ropes, pushing them further and further away, but Mango Rose? No way, they don't see him.
His little hidey hole in there, just knowing all these little juke spots, but it is still an expensive fight for Neon for sure. 3 buybacks being expended, but gonna secure that ever valuable Roshan coming through here, and that second Rosh as well. So it's gonna mean that the Morphling, who nearly got a dieback coming through there from some pretty good stun control coming back to back, he's gonna have the Aghanim Shard. So provide him the ability to morph even while stunned. No silences so far outside of that death drop. Answer that one off.
The other side, back live, we do see Earthshaker getting picked off on the opposite side of the map. It's going to be Ayad and Mango Rose together finding the kill. I mean, what do we get? On to Neon though. Ages given over to Fortune Soul. I believe they gave him the Aghanim Shard as well. I do not think he had that. See though, Atlantis will damage rune into Mango Rose. They have the net worth lead, even they are down the components of the second Roche.
Indeed. Looking to wait around here, not wanting to go too deep, and certainly a risky prospect. But that DD on Mango Rose, like, he is able to obliterate anyone that puts themselves into a really risky position. So now it changes a little bit. You want to make sure that you're getting these heroes that you know don't have the buyback. Chen, obviously, very important to take him down. Is potential to influence the team fights just through the use of the Hand of God, through the mechanism. It's enormous. So you got to make sure that he dies super early on. Now you've actually got the damage to be able to do it. Even just that Shiva's Guard on the DP as well, provided with so much extra survivability.
Such a costly investment for Neon in that last fight. They lose any key members. It could just be multiple lanes of barracks with how fast Atlantis are able to siege. They do not have a lot of room to mis-execute this fight.
Try and push in on this bottom side. Here, of course, the traditional support Dawn role, playing the riskiest lane and then instantly TP on top of everything. They have nothing that's going to be able to stop it. No Nyx, no Silencer, nothing like that. almost the savior of that last fight, enabling the Death Prophet, excuse me, to survive for a little bit longer than I'm sure Neon were expecting. There you go. That double damage just ends up proccing due to the time that he's had to hold on to. Bottle back, swaps back in the Falcon Blade. He's looking to try and get one of these quick pickoffs.
Oh my god, look at the damage! No! Oh. My lord.
Without play hard there, Quap dies.
God, imagine if he gets another DD. I know it. Got Scardy coming out shortly as well. Mango Rose is really starting to get the damage going. Almost level 25 as well.
Yep. I was just about to point that one out. The extra 25% Burning Barrage damage. He's just a Burning Barrage bot at this stage.
See, smoke out from Leon. Gonna see the clings, they'll get confirmation.
Yeah, they're pinging him immediately. Aya, he's gonna try and put himself in between Clink's potential for the smoke, but they're making sure to take the southernmost route coming through. Getting early. Oh, there we go.
Got the vision, they should be able to blow him up, but there's a solid guardian, it's not enough heal. The clings goes down. Another Doorbreaker is forced to commit into the middle as well, so that's gonna be another freebie given over to Neon.
Just a little bit slow on the use of the Solar Guardian coming through there. That evasion would have done a pretty big body of work coming through for Atlantis, but instead you get that quick pickoff. I really liked the movement that came through, and that was on the back of Enryu. You could tell he was the one making a lot of those calls at that time. Blinking forward, getting the really aggressive ward up there on play hard. The Roar to be able to start that team fight super reliably. They do have the buyback though on the Clinks. It feels like they'll almost definitely need to expend it here. More Clink. It's 4 levels.
It's gonna have to be a toss into a spear. They're gonna look for it. The silence, but the Manta's out. Attempt. Very close for them executing that, but Morphlin proving to be an issue with the Manta, and no. Now the Glyph is gonna expire, and Neon, they can get to work on the objectives.
Double siege creep wave as well, so there's really no way that they're going to be able to stop this.
I think you have to give up the second set as well. I don't see how they're going to be able to defend it. You do not want to buy back on the Clinks. They could look to make a play with smoking out for the DD top. They've got a good ward there as well. And bottom lane shoved out. So if Atlantis can shove this mid lane, and if they have a smoke available, I can definitely see them looking to make this play.
Going for a backstab play here. Mars TPing into the outpost, trying to catch them on the retreat. Not even taking the bounty rune, wanting to get there as quickly as possible, not reveal the position. The Aegis expiring as well to the Morphling, so that's the target. Again, they know he doesn't have buyback, having bought back to be part of that previous team fight. And well, there's that double damage. And Go Rose picking it off. Will he go for the super risky play, backstab of his own? Link dagger yet on him, so it's really hard for him to get into a super reliable position.
Look at the Hawk. Such a great position, almost scouting out Aya, pushing up. They'll see WS now, and as soon as you know where the Mars is positioned, you know that's a lot of the initiation on Atlantis, and they've got a great ward as well that scouts them all out. Such a great position for them to be able to take the fight from Neon, but WS is in with the combo. It's not enough to secure the kill just yet. Mango Rose hasn't been able to pump out the damage. So Neon, they can reposition back towards the triangle, but Wonderboy, he wants to charge on 4, but he doesn't want to give them that breathing room because Aya has got the follow-up as well. They'll kill off the Chen. They're going to be eyeing down Fortune Soul, but away from to reposition. But now Fortune Soul, he wants to keep about going back in. Targeting down Aya. They've got the damage, but they're get rid of him. Play hole. He's going to be in with the Echo Slam, but it just tickles him as Atlantis, with the help of the double damage rune, finally Clinks is able to get a free fight where we can see his damage racking up, and Neon, they pay the price.
Anyone who says that randomness can't win your games, just look at tier 5 items, just look at runes like that. The double damage coming in clutch for Atlantis, and we were saying before, no buyback on the Morphling. It's only 30 seconds away, but he actually bought the Chrysalis component towards that Daedalus, so even if he had the time to be able to do it, he doesn't have the money. He just used the Echo Slam as well, so Earthshaker feels like he's not going to have the greatest impact. No Sonic Wave. They couldn't end this game, could they?
No, I don't think so.
I think so. I mean,
I'll get 2 calls.
There's one. Oh, and Look at this. Look at the creeps in the mid lane. It's being influenced here by the Ancient Ice Shaman. Best in his little loincloth to be able to disrupt this push going on, and he's doing a great job. Do you, man? Sometimes you just gotta put on the loincloth and go to work.
Right, Enryu's. I feel like I always see this guy doing this. Up to his micro shenanigans, trying to delay the game as much as possible. Done just that. They've stalled it out. They had to use that one glyph through tower. Didn't refresh the second one. And Radiant still have very, very good vision across the map to play with. And also, it's also giving them an opportunity for... That was a dieback on the Morphling, I believe. He didn't dive prior, so they'd wasted kind of that opportunity they had. His buyback's going to come up shortly. I think he's just down a little bit of gold now. So, yeah, this is a big window that Atlantis had, and they weren't able to capitalize.
And they're just going to be looking to play around Roshan, of course. Whenever you've got a Beastmaster as well as all these creeps, so many easy opportunities to be able to scout out when it's coming up, and it's going to be that third Rosh. So the potential for a Refresher Shard or an Aghanim Scepter to come through, a second use of the BKBs perhaps, a second use of the Primal Roar. Really nice coming through. Double Playhard's been pretty on point with those so far. Maybe coming through a little bit too late in some of these team fights just after the Morphling's been dying, but feels quite solid, at least in terms of who he's able to hit in these fights. Gonna need to do something soon though on Atlantis. Top lane's pushing in. Kind of movements that they're looking to make will be a little bit obvious. Maybe just trying to a little bit more pressure onto that mid lane. Defense to come through from Neon, considering they had to use that glyph previously. Top lane, this needs to be addressed. Creep wave about to spawn, but even just sending one of your creeps up top, the Wars and the Manta Illusions, someone needs to defend on Atlantis.
In fact, Atlantis just want to push them back. Yeah. See the Earthshaker, they're going to see the Queen of Pain shortly as well.
Ooh. Hold on, a lot of people are TPing back, so they see that everyone's back in the base. If they're really on point, they could just say, all right, we know Roshan's going to come up in this next little bit of time. Let's just walk to Rosh. Have someone... How are they going to deal with it? We've got a pretty good ward right to the south side of the Rosh pit. Staying bot. I feel like they're missing this big opportunity, and Neon are going to be the first ones that see it's coming up. Instant ping comes out as well from Fortuned Souls saying, hey, this is happening. We got to make sure that we get there before Atlantis do.
They're moving to connect. Atlantis. They've got WS on the front at the moment, playing in the trees. Sides with this ward advantage inside with that top rune control, but Neon are just going to move forward. They will take this pretty goddamn fast. We can't give a third Rosh up like this.
For Atlantis, man. Big missed opportunity, and well, you can't, but they will. It's the refresher as well, coming through.
Boy, potential now for double BKB, double Sonic Wave on Avatar mode if he wants to continue holding this. Maybe Enryu, I was going to say you could consider the Beastmaster, but he's going his own Refresher Orb, so soon we'll have double Roar to hold one target into place. There's another DD.
Like it'll be Neon that picked this one up though. Quite nice. Mode can even look to buy that Aghanim Shard if he wanted to. Have that little bit of extra silence, that extra damage to assist with even the simpler things like pushing waves in, forcing more defensive movements to come out from Atlantis. What I really do like is the Scythe of Vite coming through from WS here. Just to be able to get that sheep onto the Morphling. I don't believe you can actually start morphing into strength if you get hexed from the Scythe there. So that could be the little bit of extra damage that they need, or a little bit of less survivability rather, that they need on the Morphling to enable that quick pick-off, get rid of that Aegis. And
this tower's going to fall fast. They need to come back. You can't let Meg go like this. Look at the headspace. Static Cap's going to protect Fortune Soul for the moment. WS gets a jump. The side is out into the Queen of Pain, but the fall, it's not there. There's no one. There's actually no one to help out WS inside the arena. They'll keep alive thanks to the use of the Solar Guardian Avatar move. Chalking out a double Sonic Wave, and they've got no response on Atlantis. 2 heroes down, 1 buyback available, but they've expended so much and didn't even kill anyone.
No one at all, and I'm not sure what that Blink Dagger is going to do either on Gold Death Prophet, because you've used the Exorcism and they know this. They have got complete understanding of all of the cooldowns that you've got at your disposal. They know that there's a buyback used as well. no ultis, essentially, for Atlantis to be able to play with. So, yeah, just a matter of the waiting game. Wait out the, what is it, just expiring now on the EXO and then look to push on forward. It's one of those instances where you're happy to just send a Hawk into the base. Even if it gets instantly killed, who cares? You just need that initial bit of positioning coming through.
You've still got the Echo, you've still got the Raw to play with as well. Multiple ultimates for them to work with. Toss back. It's going to be okay for the moment. Trying to deal with the first life. They want to have the damage. And then Ryu, he wants to now jump in. Before stuff to reposition Iad. The Glyph is going to come out early on to keep the barracks alive. The last remaining set of barracks. Atlantis operation kept against the threat of the Mega Creeps with the fissures out the Raw as well as Iad. He jumped on forward, but he doesn't have a buyback. Down goes the Tiny. They will have to Mars up surely. They have some way of initiating.
Mango Rose want to fall forward to pick up the gem. Oh, they just refreshed.
Well, they'll get the first life, they get the Hex as well. The Queen of Pain getting control for the moment. Andrew's gonna jump, beautiful Raw onto the Clinks. No damage is coming up from Mango Rose, so it's gonna give them an opportunity to reset out of this team fight. But Atlantis, they can't let them. Avatar mode, however, is gonna push on forward, kills off the Mars. Neon are doing such an incredible job at hiding them time and time again. There's a potential opening, but that is instantly shut down as Neon with their movement seem flawless through these late game team fights. Mega Creeps on the cards and they want more kills, they want more blood. Wave forming past the throne, the Clinks is down, he's got a buyback, but Neon, they can close this game one out.
They can. The death ball was just way too much. They had plenty of opportunities to be able to deal with it. And, well, they had the right idea a lot of the time. Looks like Clinks will be going down here. Well, yes, like this. This is exactly what they do. They just look to swarm over you. And as I was saying, they had the right idea. You know, the Mars, not getting the Scythe of Vice, making sure that he could try and get in on top of either the Queen of Pain, the Morphling, look to burst them down without some of those defensive capabilities. Just a few too many skill shots that didn't hit. There was no.
Casey is, I mean, she's what do you call it? A hostess?
My job at TI is to make the players look good. I want to know how they're feeling in the moment and allow the audience to get to know them in perhaps a way they haven't yet.
How are you feeling about the tournament so far? What has been the highlight for you?
Having a diarrhea every single day.
What was that?
Having a diarrhea every single day.
Oh.
Yeah.
That sounds lovely. I'm going to send it back to James. Thank you again.
Ice. He's just really good at making situations awkward.
You didn't mean diarrhea, you mean diary, like you wrote your diary this morning and they're like, nope, diarrhea.
Oh, God. Folks, I heard him right.
He knew exactly what he was doing. He knew it made me feel uncomfortable. And I respect him for that.
She was really good at taking the awkwardness and making it really funny.
We rolling? How about now? We rolling?
When you're first talking to them, players take a little bit of time to warm up to you. And then you ask them to scream, you expect them to go,
1, 2, 3. You win.
I was sent to the Players Lounge to interview Ice. And keep in mind, I don't know anything about the game. I haven't been watching it. I don't recognize the professional players.
So you're going to be playing tonight in the one-on-one championship, is that right?
That's correct, yeah.
Are you excited?
Yeah.
Are you Ice?
No.
What's your name?
I'm not.
Are you Michael?
No, they're trolling you.
This entire room is going.
Hi. How's it going? That's right.
I immediately went back to when I was in middle school and everybody was laughing at me for something. I have no idea what it was.
There's something going on here that I'm not aware of.
One of the hardest interviews to do is if you're talking to someone who does not want to speak to you. Is it that they are nervous? Or is it that they just don't want to frickin' talk to me right now?
He's like, yes, please move on. All right, duly noted. I'm gonna stand up and move. There's so much trolling, I don't even know how to navigate this.
I don't mind looking stupid, I don't mind looking silly, I don't mind looking bad, but I never want to make someone that I interview look bad.
Casey is doing great. She's doing great for the scene. When she comes to TI, she interacts with these crazy ass fans.
I think she does a good job understanding people and getting people to open up a little bit.
I want to get trolled by Ice Ice Ice.
I've been trolled by Ice Ice Ice. He's really good at it.
My job is to also give a voice to the fans and give them an opportunity to come together as a community and connect with the players. You can't be afraid to not look polished. I'm anti-polish. Be yourself, be in the moment, show how you're feeling. If I had a time machine, I would go back to 10-year-old me and I would start playing Dota 2. And I would be here as a player and I would be going for $18 million. And y'all be interviewing me and you'd ask me questions and I'd say, I don't know, I have diarrhea.
I think I've seen that clip like at least 100 times. It's legendary.
You know, the whole venue was just echoing. It was just, you know, really easy to root for, you know, our, you know, fellow countrymen.
That was a great part of Dota history, the meme-making game, Liquid versus LGD.
Best of one, loser eliminated, winner in the top 8. The draft complete, the players now selecting their heroes. And here we go.
Team USA is having the home crowd behind them.
I think going into that match, I don't think Liquid really, you know, liked their odds very much. They were just gonna leave it all out on the field and, you know, it was enough. LGD was, you know, a top dog in that tournament and, you know, they were, you know, predicted to win.
And it's gonna be a Bulba clockwork, making a comeback here. Bulba still doing pretty well mid. I actually would say it's very even.
I remember Bulba. He was really performing on his clockwork, making some insane plays.
Against LGD China. Could there be a turnaround?
It was like my first ever like tournament. This was like a big moment for me because I wanted to prove myself. This game was everything for us.
They need a hook. Boba finds one. That's going to be on Xiaowei.
And I was getting all these kills with clockwork. I just killed Xiaowei when he was split pushing with Furion. And then finally there was a big team fight in their base and I had a really good hook on like 2 people. At that point I couldn't really hold it anymore. I just started like getting up in my seat even though the game wasn't over. And now I look back and say, wow, what was I doing?
I used to have a soundboard, and my #1 most clicked one was the LD part when Liquid, they won. I think it goes like this. Siler to fall, Liquid are doing it.
Siler to fall, Liquid are doing it!
And Bulba is on his feet. I believe that's how it goes, but it's so epic.
You know, everyone loves an underdog and being able to cheer for, you know, the home crowd favorite and getting behind them and all these personalities on the team, especially Sam. Like it's an easy personality to cheer for. He's just, you know, a kid who wants to do well at his first big tournament and, you know, take it home to his family and his parents. And I imagine he was just totally overwhelmed and full of energy and excitement, and soaking in the crowd was his way of releasing that emotion.
I think the fans loved it, you know. The crowd was going pretty crazy because it was the first time an American team had ever done anything, so that was pretty cool.
Before that, the American scene was very bad.
North American Dota. Yeah,
It was cool to see that everyone can beat everyone in tournaments like this, so everyone have a chance to win tournament.
I like to think that game will be remembered as a turning point, and it proves that anyone can really do it.
I think for any team that is in the finals, that's just 100% focus. You know that you're the 2 best teams in the world. Either of you could win. it's a very weird feeling. It feels like you need to win this with all your soul and body and mind, you know, like everything that you've achieved in Dota and that you've done in Dota has built up until this moment.
Some people maybe feel pressured. Crowd was always very friendly to us. The crowd would help us a lot. Big scene is good for us, but for someone else, I don't know, it's different.
50,000, 500,000, 2 million people are watching, like, okay, that's great. It's a lot of pressure. Playing with thousands of spectators watching you, you're more prone to make mistakes because you're thinking about it more. Just keep your cool and not let any distractions such as the crowd or, you know, the pressure get to you. Guarantee you someone else on the other team will let it get to them, so if you're able to keep your cool, you're probably going to win.
Dota is a sick mental game. It brings out the best and worst in you. Who ended up winning the mental warfare always won the series. That's how you're going to win tournaments. That's how you win the tournament. And if you break the other mind, it gets really easy. Some minds are really hard to beat though.
Well, at TI5, I had no anxiety. Like, I was totally comfortable in my own skin, and I think that I played really well, and everything was great. But then I go to the Summit 4, you know, it's a $100,000 tournament versus this $18 million tournament. I'm sitting there in the finals, down 0-2 against VP, and I'm just like having trouble breathing. It's weird like that, and you don't know when anxiety is gonna hit you. If you're freaking out, you know, somebody else is probably freaking out too.
Just a screw up in the game. You made a mistake in the game and that's why you lost. Those things can happen, but those things should not eat you. Sadly, a lot of people end up thinking about their loss a lot because they could have done better.
To lose in finals, just one step before winning, it's hit you much harder.
输了以后，第一个感觉就是我很对不起所有的粉丝，因为他们一直以来都很支持我，尤其是在场所有的观众也是在呼喊着我的名字，所以我觉得很对不起他们。然后过后我很伤心，然后我就出去躲在厕所啊，出去啊，一直流眼泪，就很久才能平复下我的心情。
It doesn't matter if we lose or not. Just those words reminds us of what we've done and that we don't need to be afraid of losing. It sounds like
Явно играют две равные.
Radiant team, bang. Dire team, bang. Radiant team pick. Dire team pick.
好的，欢迎回来。您现在收看的是2022年 DOTA 2国际邀请赛地区选赛东南亚赛区的比赛直播。本次赛事中文流由完美世界电竞制作，我是解说风之翼。
大家好，我是解说 Yuno。
接下来是有这个 Neo 对阵 Atlantis BO3 的第二局。第一局只能说双方各有失误，但是确实像Yuno说的，偏推进的一方呢，他容错率比较高，对吧？就是打盾可能输了，但是我只要控着盾啊，主要是他们控盾好吧，我只要推塔就行了。确实把3路最后破了之后，赢下了比赛。
对，说这个就像我前面说的，就跟东欧那边很像呀，就是在这个可能两支队。
An incredibly well-executed game one from the lads on Neon. Give them a game advantage here in our elimination series. Then we've got our second draft ready to rock and roll. It's going to be Neon on the Dire side. We've got Atlantis on the Radiant side as well. What do you know? If it's not broke, don't change it. Keep it how it works. At least for Neon and Atlantis, they still go back into the death prop, which I also do not hate.
No, don't hate that at all. I want to see them do something else to be able to address this eventual death ball. They're banning out the Bat Rider as well as the Beastmaster. I believe it was the Enigma last time. That was the other first phase ban. they still got to deal with it. I want to see a whole lot more targeting towards Enryu. And it's not like his pick was protected all that much either, right? So just really punish him in the laning phase. What I want to see for Atlantis.
Don't get me wrong, I'm still also not the biggest fan of this like Chen Earthshaker first phase, but if Neon are able to get away with it, which they definitely did in last game, and if they feel it's strong enough with how they're able to play with it, I think they harded a pretty solid game on the Earthshaker. There were a couple of occasions we didn't see the Echo maybe come out fast, but I think his stuns overall were incredible and his fissure placement. So, and like you said, just Neon played well with this Death Ball, so now they don't have the Beastmaster to fall back on. And I think from what we saw in the last game, I'm really expecting them just to go into Enryu's here at the 15th again. Like, I feel like they are going to put a lot more emphasis on just making sure Fortune Soul has the overall last pick and really looking to secure his game.
I wonder why they're going into old mate Tusky Dusky, this responser, as opposed to the Tiny. I don't think Ayad played that much of a bad game, but you know, Tusk doesn't really do that much to be able to deal with Chen creeps, right? I guess you could have a little bit more movement speed to reliably just like punch him down in the jungle and make sure that he's not involved at all in the laning stage. But other than that, I'm not really seeing it all that much.
Ooh,
what do you think?
Oh no. I mean, it's pretty good. I'll have to give you that. Atlantis do like their Tusk. We've even seen them flex it into the dreaded position 3 Tusk in their DPC, but Ayad does play a very mean Tusk as well. So going back into some of their comfort, maybe they felt like his Tiny was not up to par of what they were needing. So Tusk will help be able to maybe enable Roshan a little bit easier with the extra. Definitely gives you a save, but doesn't help versus the Death Ball. So we'll see. Ooh.
Picking up Edward Nigma for themselves. Wonder where this is going to go. You know, like we were saying before, Atlantis, one of those teams that really like to flex the Death Prophet in particular. But I really do feel like this Enigma might need move around. I mean, they've still got plenty of options left in the pool. They're going to have the last pick of this coming phase on Neon. So unless they pick up like a Bristleback for themselves now, I'm just going to bristle into this. Why not?
You can still consider a Morphling. It's a very, very good Morphling game, and they obviously really like this Earthshaker Morph combo, even though they don't go into the Scepter. Yeah, okay, very good call.
You just so many people get hung up, and I know you know this, but for people that haven't watched our hundreds and hundreds of hours of casting, you gotta crush Enigma in the lane. That is how you beat this hero. And you can pick Rubik, and it's solid enough. And, you know, a lot of people pick like Treant and Warlock as this uninterruptible, unstoppable rather way to stop the Black Hole. Just make Black Hole not even a factor because of how hard you beat it in the lane. That's Enigma's biggest strength, to be perfectly honest. The thing is now, though, you've picked a Bristleback into a Tusk Death Prophet, which have the potential of just running you down in the early stages. They've both got decent enough armor. And if you, what is this now? Is this a mid DP with an offlane Enigma and a 4 Tusk? I'm not feeling super confident with it.
Yeah, I think that's where they're going to try and set the lanes up for Atlantis. I mean, it's looking like it's something, it's going to be very difficult for them to mention the lane versus Enigma. You've got a chance to buff him up as well. And it also means that the Chen can rotate into the jungle. Like, Bristle will be able to 1v2 that lane, which means Seth then can maybe find an early mechanism, which can help out with the Snowball if they go down that route, depending on the hero that is picked up from Enryu, because we are looking for the offlaner. I guess we should maybe look at Atlantis' carry, because they do have the 23rd pick.
I mean, EA is an option, but it feels like a little bit low, especially against all these really aggressive timings. I just want something that's going to buy break, as well as something that's able to deal with a lot of this AoE. Even if you can get something that's able to force them to face you, that's not any of those things that I was talking about, but at least in terms of the carry-to-carry matchup, you've got a high amount of armor, right? And I think TB plus Omni Knight is a pretty decent pairing for the laning phase, just because, again, Shaker does basically nothing in the laning phase, and Terrorblade is one of those heroes that you just need to make sure he survives. And even though Omni Knight might be lacking in damage, Terrorblade absolutely is not. So just get up to level 3. TB with his relatively low HP pool means that a purification, even just at level 2, is going to heal basically a quarter of his HP. I really like the TB Omni Knight pairing. Do you Brewmaster into this? I feel like you do.
Oh, it's actually it's a very good brew game. Holy.
It's a pretty bad pairing with the Earthshaker, but in terms of the game impact, it's pretty amazing.
Very good call.
Come on.
Lucky I didn't say mine. I was going to say, what's the potential of a Darkseer getting picked up? I thought that was something they could consider. I like the brew call a lot with how you're able to deal with the Terrorblade illusions, the Omni Knight. It does get rid of TV illusions, right?
Does a very high amount of damage.
But yeah, like you said, the Dispel versus the Omni, being able to just cyclone the Death Prophet is also one of the more important things. And Andrew has a mean Brewmaster, but you raise the concerns on how this lane is going to fare. And I think it'll be okay, because can't you just, as soon as metas pop, you just fissure and Enryu will just reposition. And whenever's metas on cooldown, I haven't seen the Omni Knight enough to know how he's going to be able to zone out the Brewmaster, but I feel like Enryu should still be able to get experience even with Play Hard, putting a lot of emphasis on rotating, because Play Hard will need to. Like, you need to help out Avatar mode mid. This is a hero that needs water runes. He's going to need power runes as well to be able to lane to the DP, because I would say it's a little bit more favored to the Death Prophet.
I mean, you say he needs to rotate, but I really don't think he can. You know, the Shaker's job in here in the lane isn't to go for kills. Just like you mentioned, to make sure that Fissure is on point to stop the metamorphosis timings and enabling the gap close to happen. What I'd be looking to do is just play around being able to make pulls happen, because Omni Knight really isn't one of those heroes. Like, I want to see Play Hard go Windlace or Boots of Speed, because Omni Knight doesn't have a stun, and he also doesn't have a slow outside of the Hammer of Purity. So that's lasts not long at all. Earthshaker's always going to be able to outrun you and get these pulls off. They're playing on the Dire side, so they could just pull it behind the tower, and then suddenly this Omni TB lane, which is pretty scary, suddenly isn't anymore, and you're just able to get those early levels onto Enryu, and then maybe once you've done that pull, then you can rotate, because you know that the Brewmaster isn't going to die if he's farming behind the tier 1 tower.
How concerned are we here with Atlantis' draft?
I'm pretty concerned. Yeah, I'm going to say that, and they're just going to absolutely stomp them, but I think I see a bunch of holes that need to be addressed, right? I feel like this Enigma lane is going to go pretty horribly, though I wonder if they might try and change up the lanes a little bit here. We can already see WS positioning himself down towards the bottom side of the map, so maybe they're just going for this complete lane switch, realizing that, well, Enigma into Bristle is probably one of the worst situations that you've got yourself in, so why not try and change it up?
Right.
They get they've got the Observer placed down. They don't get a glimpse of WS, because even though he didn't connect through, it was under the cover of the smoke. Now they'll see him though. Enigma's playing down towards the bottom side, and it's being pinged out. So yeah, look at that. Bristleback Fortune Soul is just like, okay, gonna run towards the top side of the map with the rest of the boys. I'm just gonna stay around here for now. See what gets revealed on the back of this Observer Ward.
I'm hesitant, man. I don't know. This...
predictions. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah,
I got this real quick.
Yeah, you go do your predictions. I'm a bit concerned that Atlantis are very cooldown reliant and they don't have heroes to make plays. Like, we're expecting this. If the Enigma continues to lane away from the Bristleback, then at least he's going to get off to a decent start, which is really one of my big concerns at the moment. But I just feel like Neon don't really need a whole lot. Like, you've got an Ember Spirit who's playing into a very free game. Like, I do think the DP lane might be a little bit DP favored, very slightly.
Sorry, can I just talk real quick? The Fortune Soul, I don't like how far back he went, because you could see as soon as the Enigma revealed that he was on the bottom side of the map, then he started running there. But Fortune Soul basically ran from like close to the dust all the way down here, so he's probably going to miss out on a few creeps, let alone just the ones that WS is going to be about to deny through. But Sez going to be there to soak up half of that ranged XP.
Dire's courier has been
Going to go for this offensive tri-lane? Offensive tri-lane? Whatever you want to call it. Some kind of tri-lane up on this top side of the map just to try and get that early kill before rotating through to help out the Enigma.
And I think it's really big that they haven't enabled the Enigma by blocking up the hard camp. He hasn't kind of microed his Eidolons as well, considering you're kind of forced to do it now for support. Top lane, play hard. He should be able to get the kill. Beautifully done. Mango Rose with the metamorphosis. Ayad steps in with the tag team, and it's what you need. I love a good tri-lane when you've got a Tusk, at least just starting with the tri-lane as well. This tag team early on with 3 members does such a ridiculous amount of damage early on, so I like this from Atlantis.
Right now, he's playing really aggressively. When the Bristleback's just level 1, there's not that much kill threat there. Of course, Seto didn't have the wholly persuaded target as well. He actually ends up getting one of the best ones in the Ghost and uses that to be able to get this pull off. But now that he's even just level 1, it means that WS doesn't have the freedom to walk into the lane quite so easily. You have the potential of getting turned around upon, especially once Fortune Soul hits level 2. I kind of want to see him go a point in the Viscous Nasal Goo immediately and look to go for a kill, because you'll have slows. Slows on slows on slows, maybe not stuns at the very moment, but like it's an incredibly strong timing that they can play around.
They're on to play hard, a little bit of damage, but there's that fissure like we were mentioning. But Ayad already having the level 2. Want to play with the shards, but play hard will be able to cut his way through. We do see both side lanes with the hard camp being open, they're able to kind of manipulate the creep wave. So Mango Rose is going to free farm up top, which means that the Brewmaster can really only look to just soak some experience. And bottom lane, we've already mentioned Fortune Soul with having the lane back towards his side. That means he's going to have a great time versus WS. So now it's up to mid and how we can see the supports look to try and manipulate this lane as well.
I like a WS's micro though, not giving these Eidolons up for free. Like, if you're spamming out the Quill Spray, it means the lane is naturally going to push back into you underneath the tower, and Bristle's not quite yet at that point where he can look to go for this soul. He's actually got a few of the Quill Sprays stacked up onto him already, but as long as WS backs off, he's not in position to die. He's got to be a little bit careful though. Dick charges. Up beating a few of those Eidolons away, so never mind WS, cast a curse coming through, and then you immediately do the opposite of what I'm commending you for.
They have to go and do that.
Eventually the does rotation, not even a TP, come down Ayad, making sure that Seth isn't just able to continue farming up. He's got more net worth than his Brewmaster right now, and try and put a stop to that. But TP's had a good start. That's what you want. Mango Rose, obviously, in terms of carry-to-carry matchup against the Bristleback, feels pretty solid.
I'm just trying to see how Enry is going to be able to play this next minute in particular here with the Brewmaster top. Again, their biggest issue is this creep equilibrium. Ponyo is doing a really good job to be able to block the small camp, so they don't have this to be able to reset the wave. So yeah, again, Enry is really struggling with just being able to find any CS. It's only just the experience at the moment that he can leech.
Situations, but you got to take what you can get. You know, it's always a game of give and take, Dota, right? And it's always just like, well, hope we can take a little bit more. Greedy players at Dota.
Are you in particular as a greedy support player?
Never. I've supported you. You know this. I am very selfless.
Oh, yeah, like you yoinked a couple of my kills. That's right. I remember. I'll never forget.
The kills wouldn't have hhappened without me. Let's get this record straight.
Sure.
Fortune Soul down on the bottom side. He's still actually gone into the Soul Ring, which makes sense for a Bristleback, right? Like, you're still going to be able to get a lot of that farm really early on. You're going to have plenty gen coming through from your natural build into the Halberd. It's almost entirely physical damage coming through. Pipe. Third one. Hood. Not really needed this game. And so it's going to give him plenty of survivability against TV, the Eidolons, Tusk.
And something that we mentioned in the draft as well, with the free lane that the Bristol's going to get, this will enable the Chen. As he says, getting a ridiculous amount of farm, but he's also made a couple of stacks in the jungle. There's a double at the Ancients already for the Bristol back to fall back on. So I hope they continue to try and make some stacks for Fortune Soul, who's in a bit of trouble at the moment. WS is not going to be able to continue in this aggression with Ayad, as Cool's really starting to stack up.
They just got to wait 10 seconds and then do exactly what they just did. They've been able to... Ayad TPing top, back of some aggressive moves coming through. I really wanted him to stay bottom. He just hit level 3. You could have gone for that an extra point into the tag team, maybe just because he doesn't have the mana to get all 3 spells off, but Bristol was sitting low, and you had this Enigma that's level 5 with an Urn. You got to get that early charges in Shadows to have any kind of success, but that movement up top, it means that you're not going to have that same kill threat, and it might actually be the opposite. Ser, with the army coming through, if they can go for a dive here onto the Enigma. He's level 6 though. Don't want to be diving too deep.
Oh, they'll just use the summons for it instead. On your TP's in the nick of time to keep WS alive, and unfortunately for Fortune Soul, maybe not having the mana help with this dive. So Ponyo will keep WS okay for the moment. Wonder if they bring an extra hero to play with this black hole, but I guess mid lane Wonderboy, he's popped the Exo, so they're starting to get a decent amount of damage into the tower.
Gonna need to deal with this. Ember's TP'd all the way back to base. Rejoin. Stop this if you can. Careful though.
This is not good.
A lot of damage into this tower, man. Exo, a few seconds left on it. Half damage for the first use of the Exo. I think you're generally pretty satisfied with that.
And they're going to get the kill on Sarah as well. Damage will be there. Nicely done. It's also an issue, the fact that Avatar mode, he TP'd back to base, it refilled the resources. As soon as he comes into the lane, they just bring him down to, what, 1/3 health now to play with, so he can't really posture aggressively to still stop Wonderboy from maybe getting these right clicks out, so that what would usually be a play for the Ember to come back in and freshen up a little bit, now he's not really playing with that advantage.
Not. He's doing all he can to try and shove this lane out, making sure that there isn't that potential to go for the consistent into the tower as back off entirely. Of course, no TP to be able to play around, so forced to actually just run back to the base entirely. Certainly not what you want. Soul doing the job of his support, just pulling the lane away from the Enigma. He realizes how big of a threat it is now, especially 7. So maxed out demonic conversion. The Eidolon's much tankier than they used to be. A single point into the Midnight Pulse as well if they were looking to go for that dive.
Great position from Sarah as well on the Chen inside the triangle. He moved back over as soon as the Omni Knight was starting to maybe move inside and try and scout at this stack, which is really going up to a hefty stack for the Bristol back to farm. So the fact that now Atlantis haven't been able to scout this out, because they had a lineup that could definitely move over and try and take that with the Exo and some of the support rotations. Yeah, he's all right though. Just the shards is off the mark. Very close from Ayad, especially with that TP in from Wonderboy.
Yeah, pretty big commitment coming through. It just frees up Avatar mode to have even just a couple of seconds free. You know, it feels really significant. Just what, Mango Rose here?
Mango, I think they have the fissure. A bit of an awkward spot for them to play with. Close to the T2 tower, so Ponyo's going to be able to TP in. But into the Heavenly Grace set's going to be purged off. Doesn't have enough mana for the purification as well. Great movement coming out from Neon. That's the first use of the final split. But bottom lane, Fortune Soul, he'll go down as well. So even though they lose the Terrorblade on the opposite side of the map, Fortune Soul will take a tumble.
Takes 3 heroes to be able to do it though. They get the Urn charges as well. Wonderboy put a little bit of this pressure onto the tower. Of course, it was with the use of the Arcane Rune as well, so efficient as possible. Avatar mode just trying to shove out this lane, but not anywhere close to being able to pick it up.
Great snowball from Ayad, and the shards are even better. The fissure holds back the damage from Mango Rose for the moment, but all they needed was WS's limit the control out of the Malefice, which means that Enryu should not be able to step out. The misses, no way.
The Drunken Brawler, man.
Oh, he might be able to make it off to the other side, though. They do lose another support. Wonderboy was able to chase down Sale on the Chen.
Don't you love 45% evasion just with a single point into the Drunken Brawler?
Yeah, it's great ability. I want to see the Brewmaster a little bit more.
It is a high skill sim. Yeah, I agree. It's always fun to see a great boop. We're blessed with having a few of them in the SEA region. KP and FBZ would be at the top.
That Fortune Soul, he's blessed as well. Oh my.
Take down, like, this is genocide, basically. Able to take all of these ancients at once. Neutral item, neutral item.
The fact that Terrorblade's still higher net worth than the Bristleback after that stack has completely been taken, just props to Mango Rose and how much farm he's really been able to get out of the Terrorblade. They did an incredible job at the lane swap, and even the Enigma as well has gotten a decent amount out of the lane, like WS. 56 last hits, and he's going to be going to a Blink Dagger next. He has the urn completed at the moment. He's going to look to shy away from the Spirit Vessel, wanting some way to be able to help initiate these fights is the call from the Enigma.
That's why I was quite surprised with Ser once again. Like, he didn't really have that much of a presence in the laning phase, right? He went off into the jungle, looked at fire, and
so he's going to pop. Oh, he tries for the shard play as well. Ponyo's nearby to buy him some time. The rest of Atlantis are not tipping in to maybe take a skirmish, and oh no, Enryu feels forced to use the Primal Split. They should be able to catch up to Ponyo. They need the extra kill to the Omni to make it at least worthwhile from expending that second Bruce Boot of the game. It's like Enryu by himself might be able to do it, although Ponyo's getting pretty close to the T2 tower. But they've got the spam from afar, Fissure into the site, and they'll get the kill. But bottom lane now, Exo into WS, he's charging up the Black Hole. They can find an opening. A Broker stick on 4, there's the ultimate out, and now Wonderboy can just freely dish out the damage, but not having to worry about hitting into the back of the carrot. And he's even looking for more. He's going to charge up forward, he might be able to get the kill on Ser. The Spirits taking over the life of the Chen. Man, this is now deep if I had...
Maybe he likes to go for the wraparound there with the Tumbler's toy, but that one off, and now he's just forced to try and run away. Power sitting pretty low as well, so Mango Rose putting a little bit more pressure onto this still. Maelstrom picked up yet by Avatar mode, just a simple 200 gold away, but gold that he needed at that stage to be able to pick it off. Play hard. That's a optimistic use of the Echo.
But Avatar mode to the north, he wasn't able to jump in and follow up, and especially with the split on cooldown, Enryu wanted nothing to do with that team fight, so T1 Tower is going to end up going down here for Atlantis.
A lot of unforced errors coming out from Neon, right? Like, you didn't really need to use that Primal Split, you didn't need to use that Echo Slam. Probably could have had the Chen just in lane with you with the Bristleback to try and dominate the Enigma and make sure, like, WS is level 10. Significant, considering, like, Bristle is a hard counter to the Enigma, and he was solo for the majority of that laning state. With a Chen and a Bristleback, one of the strongest laning combinations that exist in Dota right now. So, for him to get away with this with no deaths, level 10, kind of nuts. And he's got a Midas.
Comforting rune of regeneration.
And he's got room to make some incredible plays as the game goes on, because they do not have answers to the BKB Black Hole. Like, you tried to answer him in the lane, but they just weren't able to execute the lane that really should dominate the Enigma. And now he's going to prove to be a big issue as this game goes on.
Nothing, eh? Really just needs to be on, like, for example, to get the right back or something. That's your counter, the Black Hole. Just try and survive through it.
That's not going to be easy at all. With how much damage they can pump into it, with the Terrorblade off to the outskirts, the Death Prophet as well is off to another very good game. I mean, look at the gold in the bank here for Wonderboy. He's almost got 4K in the bank, humming and ahhing between. I guess if he just wants the BKB or not.
You want it. Feels a little silly to be honest that he's not buying it though. Yeah, you know me.
Bottom lane, WS. Considering about the dive. They need to bring him down before the rotations, but the TPs are starting to come out, and the important one's going to be Ponyo. They're cycling the Omni Knight into the air, dispelling off the Enigma as well, so they should be able to secure the kill. But can the rest of the guys stick around? It's an incredibly deep attempt under the tower, but as soon as they cyclone the Death Prophet into the air, that's going to help mitigate all the damage from Atlantis without the help of the Terrorblade here. Underboy now, he'll still try and find an opening to charge up the Echo, but Ryu, he steps out, cutting through the tree line. The shard's almost blocking out Wonderboy, but they'll use the fissure instead, and Neon, they're out.
Expend the big cooldowns, play around your vision. Still got plenty to be able to play around yourself. The exception, of course, of the primal split, but giving time, giving space for Bristleback just to get that little bit of extra gold. He's 50 away, being able to pick up the Aghanim Scepter, and then the QW's spam can
another kill onto Aya down bottom. Shard will make it a little bit more difficult for them to find it, but in the end, kill will be secured, and the lane's going to be shoved in once again. So it's going to force more members of Atlantis to come defend bottom. Excellent cooldown, though, is not going to be easy if Neon bring the reinforcements. If they bring the numbers to take this tower, they should be able to secure it.
Well, the WS might have a thing or two to say about that. He's got the Blink Dagger picked up, coming out on the courier now, so if he can get that surprise reveal, then this is the turnaround that they need. TV's still farming incredibly well. Smoke for him to play around with too. Last Ponyo to be able to pop it just so he can go for that full wraparound, but they're going to back off entirely. They seem to think that they've got some kind of vision there and play hard.
We do see at the moment with everything that's going on across the map, Mango Rose is free farming on the Terrorblade. Top of the net worth. Scardy being worked on next item. It's going to bypass the Manta. Do we feel like this is a Terrorblade that is unaddressed, or do Neon have some answers to Mango Rose as the game goes on?
As it goes on, yes. But right now, no. Like, got Bristleback sure with the Aghanim Scepter, but they're actually back off. Really, just not seeing the Enigma makes them feel so scared. He's going to reveal on the lane and it'll show that he's got the Blink Dagger at time. They're keeping that in mind, just saying, well, we either need to get right on top of WS and deal with him, or we need to avoid him entirely. Looks like Fortune Soul's going to run on forward and reveal the positioning coming through. They want the bigger target, though. They see the TP illusions. They see how much time is expended on them. Just if you click on the illusion, the timer ticking down about a quarter duration, so they're going to see, okay, what is this farming patterns like? How much do we know about Mango Rose and where he likes to farm in this position, and really conservative position inside the tree line. Oh, do they see the illusion? They see it was just sent out.
That was way too close. They saw, Atlantis saw Neon smoke. I was so surprised that he still stuck around for as long as he did up top.
Again, these are T-Guy qualifiers though, man. You got to take those really aggressively, or call it a conservative, greedy approach, you know? Where you're getting the most out of the map and getting away with like 1 or 2 seconds to swim.
It's a calculated risk coming out from the Terrorblade. You know, recognizing how much time he has. I mean, usually it's the other way around. So I'll take the dub on this time if we want to label it like that. Roche is started a little bit for Neon.
I feel like they don't want to take this fight just yet. I mean, you're 150 gold away from a raid on Enryu. Like I was saying before, the Chen will need to get it. They're clearly feeling like with how good the early game's gone for the Chen, with how much of a free farm game the Terrorblade has, that you need to pick it up much sooner. So if you're able to get it onto a core, even better.
Scary though. Mango Rose, first time he's going to look to show up to a fight. Look at the linking with the jump. It's more the chain control with the snowball through, but the hand of God. They'll keep Avatar alive for the moment. How do you want to take the fight now from Neon? You've got the threat of the Primal Split. You need to split them up. Got two with the Tusk, but eyes need to be over to WS. The Enigma positioned to the southern side. He's slowed down for the moment. If they can get on top of the Enigma, that's going to be their turnaround potential on Atlantis. They won't have this now. They'll kill off the Omni Knight. They'll cycle up the Death Prophet as well. But Atlantis, they're waiting the wings, buying their time, waiting for that opportunity. But it's still not arise. There's no for them. As Neon, they're doing an incredible job of just splitting the map, making sure. And they do just that. They kite the Exo, they kite the BKB along with the meta. That's perfect from Neon. They do everything they need to do versus an Enigma. They make sure that no opportunity arose for him to jump in.
Yeah, and even just small things as well, like play hard, making sure to play ultra conservative, because he is still the main way that you're going to be able to disrupt that black hole, right? You can split up as well, but sometimes
jump on the Earthshaker. It's going to be the Brewmaster instead. So they'll be able to kill off Enryu. Metamorphosis is going to expire shortly. No Exo as well. This is all on WS.
Sure, I feel like Neon, they have the liberty to be able to wait 20 seconds. You know, you got a Brewmaster coming back up. That Wraith Pact is going to be very important. I feel like if he drops that, you've got the Hand of God in 60 seconds, but Mech's going to be in 25. There's really not going to be a way that you die without that meta being available or the Exo. Try and delay things out. Wait for those big cooldowns. The Midnight Pulse is a bit of that fear factor coming through from WS.
Looks like one of them wants nothing to do with this. Gonna try and push bottom, shove out the lane. With this going on, Neon, they're not worried at all. Into Roche they go, Wraith Pact out. This should be a guaranteed Roche. No contest is going to come out from Atlantis. They will be forced to back up, and now Neon, they're playing with the first Aegis advantage, giving this over to Fortune Soul. And what can we expect out of Neon? Do we feel like they can claim the map even though they are down the net worth lead? Can they get some objectives?
So I think they can now. If I'm them, I'm playing mid or I'm playing top, because you see the TP illusion top that Avatar Mode just dealt with, and TP just showed bottom right next to that observer ward that was placed down in the lane. So I feel like you got two options. You either go balls to the wall onto the Terrorblade where you know exactly what his positioning is, or you go to the other side of the map where you know he can't connect, and he's still such a big portion of their damage. D-Rune going to get denied right in the face. A little bit unfortunate, but I feel like they've missed a little bit of a window here on Neon. They might still look to just connect through onto this bottom tier 2 tower while they can take it away, but they're going to have the glyph available, so they can again just look to stall things out that little bit further. Exo up in one, Meta up as well if they were wanting to with the Chrysalis, plus the black hole. Feeling like that'll be a little bit too far considering the double life coming through from Fortune Soul.
Are they going to do this? They're not going high ground, are they? All right. I don't know if you can take a high ground fight. This could be very scary. Neon need a lot of map to be able to run around in these team fights to split up the Enigma. The shards is going to make it that much more difficult. I don't know, Daniel. This is very, very risky. They don't have a big lead here.
Seems to me like the call is from Atlantis, just stay out on the map for as long as you can. Try and push things out, try and force them back. I mean, they've taken a tier 2 tower in response to this, despite being without an Aegis. The TP is farming, DP is pushing. Now the TP is going to come back with the Conjure Image to keep it pushed out before taking the outpost. But yeah, it does feel like a little bit of a dangerous proposition to just be going up onto this high ground without any sort of information. BKB now. So, feels a little bit more confident.
Jump in, Brizzer back, facing the front. A boatload of damage onto him to start, but he's going to be healed up thanks to Ser. I think they're going to live to see another day on Atlantis. They did a really good job dropping the Midnight Pulse on one of the creep waves. It forced the Bristle back out, and before the next wave connected, they jumped him so he didn't have the health pool to be able to lead up the high ground again. So Neon, they recognize they can't try and butt their heads into Atlantis' base, and they need to smoke out on the map. And Ayad, he's their target. The snowball, Ponyo on the high ground as well. Nice blink. Very nicely done from Ayad. He's going to get out for the moment. He's going to be relying on the shards to get to the low ground, but unfortunately that's off the mark. So they will finally kill off the task, but look at what the Terrorblade's doing. Cutting top, trying to cut mid as well with the illusions. Fortune, sorry, Mango Rose is just getting so much farm across the map.
Even just WS on the bottom side, right? Staying in the trees for as much time as he can, not revealing too much about his positioning. They're picking out exactly where he is.
He's in trouble. He's in a lot of trouble. WS, they're even going to poke on full player, drops a big Echo Slam, the damage racking up, and WS will go down. This should open up the T2 tower. 40-second window here for Neon.
Tower. Just look to try and reliably take this. Wonderboy is actually getting dived a little bit, but Fire Inside is going to make him a lot more reliable. Actually went for the Crypt Swarm -2 second cooldown. I don't really see too many Death Prophets go that these days, considering how strong the Spirit Siphon is in the earlier stages of the game.
I feel like they need it for the D push that we're going to see in the next couple of minutes. That's really the only thing I can think of.
I mean, if you're going into that, I kind of want to see it.
Naya? Can they try to hit from the front? They popped the meta. Oh, no.
Aegis is still up?
Oh, that's
very odd choice. I mean, he had the Silver Edge. Maybe he thought he got the area control to be able to take him down, but clearly not. So, even though they'll feel sad of being not able to invade onto that high ground with the Aegis and claim something substantial, down on the TB feels like it's enough.
Smoke.
You know, it's going to give them that time.
You gotta go. You gotta smoke.
Do they have one?
They do. They got one on Ayad. They've got good positioning in the lanes as well. They've even got a better observe ward back in Neon's territory. No one has parked their way underneath it just yet. They're not going to get anything out of the meta.
Here. WS, like, he's putting himself on the front lines, kind of, even walking dangerously close towards that that cliff to the right-hand side of the Roche pit. Of course, been picked off with items that Neon have been able to purchase for themselves during that Aegis timing. For now, like this is a game of many missed opportunities, though, for both teams, being able to go onto high ground, misusages of these big cooldowns, Roche fights that could have happened, and to me, it feels like Atlantis are taking slight better advantage of it, despite the fact that their heroes one-to-one are countered quite effectively by Neon's line.
Do we feel that in the late game, though? Because, again, there's going to be no answer to the Enigma late game. It feels like the Terrorblade matchup against the Bristleback is pretty decent. I feel like...
You've still got the Brew, though. You've still got the Brew, which is going to deal a lot with a lot of this early aggression, right? Even just tossing the Flame Panda in onto wherever the Enigma's trying to come in for that AoE damage coming through, stopping the Blink from coming in. It's little plays like that that could turn these team fights, and well, we've been praising Enryu about his ability to carry a game in.
He's just going to swing aggressively. The jump in from WS. There's the black hole, and now they've got plenty of damage. Fortune Soul. They'll kill him off. No remorse from Atlantis, and now they're looking for more. Trying to find the +1. But a great use of the Cyclone from Enryu. Are they going to go back in? You can't group up. Can play hard. What did that go?
Maybe you can.
There's no follow-up. The silence preventing the vision control, so they're going to be able to reposition. Ponyo gets the defensive toolkit out. The Guardian Angel preventing Avatar mode's damage.
Remnants.
And he's out of remnants. He's in trouble. A Blink going forward with the body block. Atlantis. They stem the advantage that Neon had. They've got a 5,000 net worth lead, and they are now in the driver's seat in this game too.
It's the power of that break, right? It was pretty good positioning coming through from Set. I say that as he almost gets picked off by Ayad on his Tusk. Other Ice Shards barely off the mark. But he got the Hand of God, he got the Mechanism, he got even the Holy Locket, I believe, onto the Bristleback, but he was broken. He was broken inside of the Midnight Pulse and a Terrorblade, right-clicking him all throughout that. So it still results in him falling down at the end of it all, and
they're going to go back in. He's got a BKB to play with this time on Fortune Soul. They'll expend it early, and now Neon, they need to get kills off the back of the BKB. They're going to charge him forward, but they're going to be cautious about Mango Rose as well. They haven't dealt with the Terrorblade for the moment. Fissure's going to help them retreat, but no, Fortune Soul! He can't get out! The Fissure locks him in no man's land as Atlantis pummel into the Bristleback, his second death in a row.
Certainly not where they saw things at the beginning part of this game. Good use out of the meta this time around, and with the break, try and go for that wraparound. Ser has to be a little bit careful here. Try and take some of that real estate. The map, just a minute left on the Roshan, so if you're able to take away that tier 2 mid, that now the most important resource, it feels like, is those buybacks, particularly for Neon. Anytime that you're going up against the black hole, Don't block off your teammate
Emperor's
again.
here. The BKB, I don't think it's going to be enough. Oh, look for a TP out, maybe with the bonus health. Oh my, that was way too close. Beautifully done from Ponyo. Again, this Omni Knight. Back-to-back fights now. We're seeing if the Omni can get his abilities off. He's a key factor into Atlantis' success.
For sure. I think big coming through from Fortune Sol. This is going to be a pretty big timing up the AC. Even just the plate mail, to be honest. Just so that you can withstand a little bit more of that damage coming through from the Terror. Obviously going to have the Silver Edge to get of your Bristleback passive, but you could just look to amp up your armor a little bit. Maybe you survive that couple of seconds longer to enable you to get off.
Look at this. They might just jump Fortune Soul again. If they just want to solo Black Holing, Shards are going to lock him into a position. Beautiful control, and WS is in, but the internet. It's up. Play hard. He'll keep the echo, stopping it in its tracks. An ulti for an ulti. Now, Neon, do you want to reposition? How do you take the skirmish?
The Enigma.
And X-Dim's going to be committed. Another beautiful fissure. Play hard. Just tearing Atlantis apart, one ability at a time. And now they're guarding the death to perfection, avoiding her at all costs, trying to deal with the supporting cast. As Pondo's taken down to the face of the earth. Wonderboy will escape it. Mango Rose. He's stuck in the tree line. Mango Rose. Cautious, my friends. Let him.
Don't
the illusion.
Don't show your illusion.
Look at the team. He's gonna pop out. They're going in. Mango Rose. He's going in. He wants kills instead. Screw play defensive. Let's get blood. Let's get kills. We've got the BKB, Sunder to play with, and the rest reinforcements. So Mango Rose. That was just a bait. He sprung out of the trees. They weren't ready for it, but all they got was a Chen. Again, another heavy investment out of the Terrorblade.
Result in too much gain either. Investment for not much gain sounds like my stocks history, but coming through with the Metamorphosis, still half duration, and the Roshan is out the second one. It's not going to have the damage to be able to deal with this. Even the Exorcism not being available, of course, with it playing on the Radiant side with a Tusk, to prioritize any time you've got the option to do so, but Bristleback is level 18. He's got that Warpath maxed out, getting closer and closer to finish up that big timing that I was talking about in the AC. 100 or so gold away, get that, plus the Aegis, then suddenly it's actually Neon that are back into the driver's seat.
I feel like we're just seeing what can happen in fights if particular heroes have a free engagement. I think that fight in particular was Enry with how much he was able to do. He mentioned before that Brewmaster is really this key factor for Neon. Like Enry has to do so much for them to be able to excel in fights, and we saw that in the previous fight, but can he do it again for this Roche fight?
There even will be a fight. There's no Black Hole, there's no Exo, there's no meta. They do. They've got no vision yet as well on Atlantis. Getting removed away and have to sit back and watch as this happens in front of them.
US, they see the Enigma. It's a big pickoff. Got a BKB. You can think about a TP. Get the blink out instead. That is, again, a BKB expender for WS. So now you don't have to worry about the BKB black hole for at least 75 seconds.
So now it's just about changing your priorities on Neon. The audible call is just going to be, all right, play hard. We don't need your Echo Slam this fight. Just make sure that you never get caught with that black hole, and we're good. You know, you're always going to be able to get that cancel off. You're the easiest one to be able to do so with your great range that you've up the Aether Lens. Fair ways away from level 20. Yeah, is your range, but he's still having such a big influence on all these team fights.
Another interesting item is Avatar mode. Kind of a pipe dream, honestly, with this bash sub, but I mean,
you would hope that Enryu doesn't finish up his build here with the AC as well, considering.
You would hope so.
What? Stressful situation. This is TI on the line.
What Atlantis can do. They defended their high ground incredibly well last stages. Can they do it again though? Mango Rose is able to break, but as soon as they see the primal split, it's gonna push Atlantis back. The Cyclone Pit is the most important one as well.
Now it feels like he can running an agent pretty reliably. Commit with this.
Fortune Soul. We're gonna see that jump in, break is out, but again, a beautiful fissure. And the shards is just shy. We've seen him play hard. I mean, these fissures, yeah, they're just off the market to keep the Brisser back in a position where they can start to beat into him.
Well, there is a win condition that's going to reveal itself soon enough, and that's going to be on Ayad, the Tusk, the Aghanim's Scepter coming through, but he's still a little bit away. You know, he's a bit over 2 components into it. This is the way you beat it, right? Especially with these lineups where only one person wants to be revealed with the push. They're just going to be souls.
They're going to jump in. They know no one's behind the bristleback. They kill the first life, and now they get Black Hole for the second life. He's got BKB ready. WS, he's in, but they get the bash. No way! No way! They got lucky enough. And now Fortune Soul is going to be okay, but it's going to be cautious because Mango holds on the meta. He's a threat that they need to respect, but the rest of the team are crumbling behind the Terrorblade. As Pleiades in over the top. The Echo into the fissure. Mango needs its under target, and he'll find it. But can they kite the TV? The Scotty's proving to be an issue for the moment. The Chen will not be able to reposition, but Neon...
They're running back in.
They can consider about going back in.
Another good
fissure. Reset. As Avatar mode trying to see an opening. They won't be able to cancel the TP. Hang on. They left Bango alone. Guys, the Terrorblade needs assistance. It's just Ponyo nearby, but the meta's going to expire surely. Where's the damage going to come out as soon as he loses the Metamorphosis? One more Remnant, and the Ember's okay. Now Atlantis, you are stuck in the middle of the fight with no way to escape, and instead, they'll just leave the Terrorblade, trying to deal with the boarding cars, moving to the Omni Knight instead. Now you can turn your attention back to Mango Rose. Operation Keep the Terrorblade Alive, so Ponyo gonna look to buy back, doing whatever he can. The consistent sustain is still proving to be an issue, and he actually might live. And what is this madman doing? Mango Rose is running back in. Oh,
no cares in the world. They'll see him coming through, though.
Game.
They see him coming through. They see it was underneath that Observer and Sentry Ward, but they're going to have to back off entirely. I mean, this is what I was talking about in terms of the good carry-to-carry matchup. Yes, you've got great ways to deal with the TB illusions, with the Brewmaster, and I mean, can we just talk on that point as well, with the Lucky Bash coming through from Avatar mode, with the Sleight of Fist, just not even just the fact that you got the bash during the Sleight of Fist, you got it onto the perfect target that was needed to be able to turn that one around. I mean, good God, Gaben is smiling on Neon today.
I am not an Ember player, so I'm not sure at all, but can you slide an Abyssal through that from afar? Like, is he... Are you
do you think I'm an Ember player? You know I'm a support mate.
As a analyst, you should know everything.
Yes, I completely agree. What an absolute trash can.
Well, oh my God. Honestly, before I was gonna say, I feel like Ember needs 25. Like, he actually needs these 2 Sleight of Fist charges to at least have a second opportunity to maybe find the bash, but...
Just bash, forehead.
Just bash. Just bash. Thank you, Gaben. Easy %. He's got Spell-Prism as a potential, so now more slides. Not even just that. I mean, this hero thrives with a Spell-Prism. Avatar mode 8, 1, and 8 on the Ember Spirit. What a performance he has had so far for Neon, but what a neck-and-neck game we have. An elimination series of 1 game away of being eliminated from their TI qualifier run. I want something else to say about it.
Got the refresh now available on the Enigma. Looks like he's going to have enough mana to be able to cast it as well. That has been the case a bunch of times where we see, you know, these Mars, these doomed players where they're like, you know what, I'm going to have a refresher in my BKB and all these other items without a Soul Ring. Sure, if you actually have the damage to be able to pull it off. Enigma, he does. He's got the Arcane Boots picked up. Have plenty towards it. Tusk as well closing in on that Aghanim Scepter, only 600 or so gold away. Atlantis are even going to try and make them into going for that high ground push. You know, take a quote-unquote bad team fight with someone, bait the fact that they've got the buyback on someone, and then use that to be able to get the kick back underneath the tier 4 tower and burst them down.
I love the position we're in because we can just look at either side and be like, holy shit, man. They're really starting to pick up some important items. And even neutral items as well. Like Play Hard, he just got the Timeless Relic on the Earthshaker too, along with the Enigma. So both these heroes are going to be doing a crap load of damage. I mean, Enryu's going second next item, so we're going to see that new Primal Companion, which I have not seen yet. You've got the items.
Yeah.
I have. You even seen it in general? I've not seen this, so this can be exciting for me. This is a beautiful thing.
A couple of times. Interesting. We'll see if they're able to pick it off. Ayad actually the journey towards his Aghanim Scepter. He ends up picking it up, but it means he's not going to have any buyback. The plus side, though, for Atlantis is he's still a support. He's still playing on the very top side of the map, completely away from any potential objectives that they were able to take in exchange. So maybe you lose a tier 1 tower as a result of this, but I feel like you're okay with that in general.
All eyes now, and for both teams, you need to be talking about how this next Roche fight is going to occur, what the best scenario is, because we're looking with Roche potentially spawning in the next 30 seconds. So top lane is where everyone is going to be looking at how they can set their wards up, their sentries, how you can get top lane shoved in. Honestly, all lanes, because for Dire, if you have bottom lane completely shoved in, which they have the capability because you do have this barracks advantage, then it could force Atlantis to come back and defend. And as soon as they break their formation, then Neon can pounce. They can invade into the triangle, they can consider about taking Roche. So Neon have a slight advantage with this next Roche coming up shortly, just thanks to the objectives.
Don't you like some of these unorthodox item builds that they're going for? I'm going to have to speak quick because there's a smoke coming through from Atlantis, but even just things like the Chen going the Wind Waker is the quick buy to be a response to that black hole in case, you know, you don't get the lucky bash through on the Ember Spirit. It's only one level away from 25 as well for those double Sleight of Fist charges. He's got the Abyssal Blade finished up, but another one of those items as well. The Sight of Light with the Wonder Boy.
Onto Enryu! No, you need this hero! Oh, no, and they've got a DD and an Arcane. These are some of the best runes for Atlantis to play with now.
Gotta keep one of those Eidolons inside the Roche pit, surely.
Just spawned.
Actually end up sending them back, or won't he?
Never refuse gold given.
Kind of indecisive here. First team that has that bit of information is Neon. Because of the Sated Tormentor. If Atlantis aren't taking it, it means that they're positioning themselves aggressively. So Neon, wisely enough, backing up inside the safety of their own base. Cost Atlantis a smoke as well that probably isn't going to result in too much of anything. So stand with not too significant casualties. It's actually the range barracks at bottom side that's going to force a movement back from WS here on the Enigma. And will that cause them to immediately look to go for some kind of smoke play? Even Ember Spirit just coming out into this lane saying, group up, we want to smoke right now. Punish the fact that Enigma's not there. We know that the Roshan is up. Let's go. Let's do this immediately. We've got the outnumber.
Yeah, you got to get map control now. Like you said, you see the Enigma down bottom, so instantly Neon, they need to get control of the pit. Drop wards, drop everything possible to try and enable this fight. They're on you. What kills they can find it for the finisher. We haven't seen enough from Play Hard. He's had a pretty good game so far. And now they have a good kickback. There's a reveal of the scepter. They get the break. Now the Bridgerback's in trouble. Where's the assistance? Heroes coming through, takes the chip of the fear. No way. They'll kill a Fortune Soul. He's got a buyback. They won't have the Chen though. Simultaneously, WS, he did have to expend a BKB. So he will... Oh, it's really awkward now on what the Enigma does with this first black hole.
Kick, into the stun, into the break, into everything else, just completely ripping through that bristleback. Do they full on commit for this? It almost feels like they have to, but how quickly is Roche falling? It's already less than half HP. They're not going to be able to get there in time. So this is a huge buyback expended for no gain for Fortune Soul.
They're going to jump the toss to the northern side. Echo even dropped from Play Hard. Looking to secure the... Like, get out! Oh, WS. Oh, no. Off to the right side, though. He's going to go Rose. He's on the bristleback, but he's going to be able to reposition. Fortune Soul's okay. Stepping out of the right side, but meanwhile... And the other skirmish going on, and he's in a little bit of trouble. The goddamn Oak is still told him to get some distance, and the Aeon Disc will be forced to be activated. So Enryu, he'll get the ultimate off, buying some valuable time for the rest of Neon to move to top.
WS refreshed on the back line. lane, pushing as much as possible. Well, it's not like they have the potential really to push into you, right? Look at the difference in net worth between the Terrorblade and the Bristleback. This is what we were talking about in terms of strong carry-to-carry matchups. You don't see one more clear-cut than this.
And they, without a doubt, have a potential to kill the Bristleback instantly again. As Wonderboy dump onto the Ember with the ward on the high ground. Avatar mode's position, but the rest of the team are too late to follow up. They are incredibly disconnected because down to the south, Ayad, he's going to kick Playhard back into the river where the rest of Atlantis are just waiting. This Arcative Scepter from the task proving to be a big issue, and Neon have no answers.
None at all. I mean, win probability starting to go a lot stronger in Atlantis' favor, and for a good reason. I mean, they've hit all their timings that they could possibly need. The support's truly coming online now. Maybe not so much Ponyo, but his positioning has been the real standout for him. High ground push. Flame available. Popped. Now going to get the refresh, I suppose, but not really anything that forces Mango Rose to back off entirely. He's just so tanky.
Look at Ayad's position. If he sees 1 second it opens, he's going to go. This kill will be a guaranteed kill.
Really wants to play hard if he can get it. Even might be worth sending one of those Eidolons a little bit more forward just to get the vision. Right now it's sitting behind the Terrorblade, but taking a full set of racks is going to be valuable enough.
Attention to the second they go on Atlantis. The top, smoking behind Mango Rose to jump in from Enryu. Oh, they own this. Important.
Slide of Fist available on Ember. Who against this? Absolutely nothing. Backdoor, perhaps?
Who's trying to step forward? They're going to Ayad. He's got to be quick though to get the drop before the Hex, and they find it out, but play hard! Echoes follow up, but it will not matter as the Brewmaster doesn't have an opportunity for the Primal Split. They'll kill off Enryu and back throughout the lane though. The Bristleback is completely isolated. My man. Black Hole into the Metamorphosis, but there's no follow-up without the break. They don't get the kill, but they can still chase him down afterwards. A dieback on Fortune Soul, and maybe the hopes of Neon taking this game too, evaporating with that death. How can they stem this? How can they hold this game?
I don't think they can. They cannot at all, and well, they're just going to push in onto these tier 4s, realizing they can't take bottom tier 2.
Oh, again,
win another kickback. Dieback coming through from the Bristleback. No, sorry, from the Brewmaster. Bristle's still on the deck for 1.5 minutes. You just got to go. He's got to go for some kind of ballsy plays, man. He is the one with buyback that they've got at their disposal.
Another round of the meta that you've got to go into.
Yep, extra 20 seconds duration onto it as well.
Look at the Hex, Wonderboy. What an item pickup. What an item purchase from Wonderboy. The Hex is giving them multiple options to find that initial stun. And now Playhard's going to be kicked into the middle again. Ayad never misses.
Hasn't missed a shard the entire game.
Oh, the shard has been a bit off the mark, but his kicks in general are not off the mark. Atlantis, they'll tie the series. They will not go down without a fight.
Today are 2-1s today, hockey, and well, it is a nice little contrast to what we saw yesterday. 2-0s across the board. This time around, much more even, and it does come down to those little mistakes, right? Those tiny bit of difference makers. We saw even Atlantis made a
mentality, but I think it's opposite. You remove the fear of losing, so you would not be afraid to do risks, which can be very necessary in these games.
I hadn't won a lot in my career up until, pre-TI4, but then after we started winning, it was a different kind of scene for me. You got more fans, you got more prestige. Everything changes when you start winning.
Things just worked out for us, and TI5 was our tournament to win. That was one of 2 tournaments we won throughout that entire year, and it was the big one.
觉得自己这是真的吗？就是我当时拿完冠军第一时间就问自己这是真的吗？也没有一些很高兴的一些反应，然后觉得后面确定自己不是在做梦，然后就非常的兴奋吧。
就是如果我会给一个没有打过 TI 决赛的人的意见的话，就是当你打 TI 决赛的时候，就那几个小时，希望可以好好的珍惜，因为时间过得很快，一下子就会过去，然后你会很后悔当时没有好好的享受。
The strongest players doesn't win, it's the strongest team that wins. And it's almost always like that. If you don't perform every second of your games, you might lose to a team that's actually not better than you, but they're just hungrier.
I don't think any Dota player will go into these games and crumble under pressure. This is when you get your strongest. This is when it's going to be the hardest to break you. I strongly believe that if I woke up a morning and I had to play the TI final, I would play the best Dota of my life. And that's all that would matter to me. If I played my very best, nothing else would matter.
So in one of the most iconic Dota games I think that will go down in history is Game 4 of TI8 with OG versus PSG LGD. It was a game full of unforgettable moments.
Sam, he catches over! They're going for top, they're trying to make space. Is it off? Now Sam gets the call! He gets the call!
One of these unbelievable plays, everyone missed it, including me.
He's got eyes on him. Get the punch on the wrong target, but the snowball pass will catch Anna. Anna, he's in trouble. The blood run silence connects. He's got the man to back up in a second, but can he really play his way out of this one? He cannot. Anna down for a minute and a half.
And I was like, what happened? Like, I didn't quite understand.
People were asking us, like, what about the Ana, the selling items? I was like, what are you talking about? Which item did he sell?
It's actually hard for anyone to understand because it all happens so fast. Ana, I think he just immediately recognized, I'm dead. We lose the game. I need to do whatever possible to clutch this. So he drags his items and sells them to ensure that he has the buyback gold. My buyback sold. No buyback? Yeah,
It takes me 40 seconds to break it down. It happened in what, 1 second, half a second? Like he realized they were ganking, he's checking his buyback goal, and in the meantime he's juking them. He's doppelgangering with PL, microing an illusion to fake like it's the real one. I mean, that happened in 1 second,
I mean, it's mental. If you go back to the moment and you ask somebody to do that play in that stress situation, he might, fumble because it's such a high pressure situation. Yet Anna does it very cool, calm, collected.
The later the game went, like they had no chance. We knew that, and I think Anna recognizing that and being able to sell the item, I think it's ridiculous, but also like genius level.
They would have absolutely lost. That's like right. I think that was even before the moment where the Seb call happened. Like this all led up to just legendary moments in TI.
Challenge 3 down on LGD. OG hitting the ancient, We're going to a game.
Dude, I love this game so much, man.
We are going to.
The best plays come from just feeling it. Like you don't have to think about it. For some reason, through all those like tens of thousands of hours of Dota, you've learned to see an angle.
It's incredible. This instinct when you're just playing the game and you're not really thinking. I mean, to make a play like that, it's wild, man. That's a real 900 IQ play.
One of the coolest things about Dota is that there's room for individual plays. And nothing stands out more than a simple juke.
And now Burning, he's got the jump again. Oh, he's going for the mind games there. He's doing it. Oh my God, did he actually get out of this as well?
I think what makes a great juke in Dota is the anticipation and understanding of the situation.
One of the best jukes that I've ever seen was Zai when it came to Evil Geniuses versus Newbie in the upper bracket at TI6. He had this sick play as Elder Titan where he completely lost Newbie.
Here around as best as possible. Zai trying to play around this rush. KP trying to juke out the burrow strike. He knows it's coming. Did he just do it? Oh, he's in the stop. Zai, he throws out the stop. KP, he force taps himself away, blinks back in, goes for the right click. Unbelievable. Jukes him out beautifully by Zai.
One of the biggest things in Dota is what's going on when you can't see parts of the map, you know? Like, if you can't see it, you don't really know what's going on there. You don't know where people are, and you're scared. So it's just me left against KPI. I think I'm super low on HP, and I'm pretty close to dying. And so I just, like, gave it a shot. Because the rush areas, it's incredibly tricky with fog sometimes. So if you see from his perspective, I'm just, like, disappearing and popping out over and over again until I finally leave the pit and then manage to force stuff on the high ground.
Yeah, double fog, force staff high ground, juke the stun. Nasty.
That's just Zai. He's very good at positioning, and he's rarely wrong. So if you think you're out-calculating him, you're probably not.
He's a pretty serious, kind of stoic, quiet guy, but in game he plays with a lot of personality, and I think that's why he's a huge fan favorite amongst everyone. I think the pressure is definitely on the person trying to catch the person that's juking. So KPI probably felt a little embarrassed after Zai got away in that situation.
He just got played, you know? It happens.
Okay. What does that take you back to?
Looking back, it's not a really good play anyway. In a real situation, I should get the kill like 100% almost because I have stun available, I have force staff. And maybe if I like force staffed first up the hill and then saved my stun, I would have got him as well. But I just stunned because I went with my instinct and I missed. And then he TP'd away, so it looked pretty bad for me. But yeah, it was a good play by him. Like.
And you missed by like a unit.
Yeah.
Evil Geniuses, off of winning this match, managed to go forward all the way and place third and win $2 million. Newbie, on the other hand, they just bottom out of the tournament. So this match mattered a lot.
A good juke is tough to come by. There's, really just a best way to play every situation. But occasionally there's some wiggle room, and that's where the outplays and the jukes become possible.
I think juking is always instinctual to some extent, but probably for every great play, there's a bit of luck involved as well.
The International Grand Finals is a strange place to try unorthodox builds, but that didn't stop Thompson at TI9.
OG versus Team Liquid. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
This elimination series is shaping up to have an incredible finish here in Game 3. Atlantis or Neon, one team will move on in their lower bracket run. Daniel, we've got the draft ready to rock and roll here for our final game with these two teams. It's What do you know? Not a little bit has changed from both sides, and back to the same as well in some other aspects.
Yeah, I was mentioning this during last game's draft, where I feel like Rubik is a fine enough counter to the Enigma, at least until he picks up the Lincoln Sphere. Same sort of thing with the Trine and the Warlock. I'm very surprised, though, that they didn't go for, again, your position 1. I guess you run the risk of having a situation happen like what happened that last game, right? Where a Bristleback is really good against the Enigma, but by picking it earlier than the enemy team, it means that they could just go one of the best heroes against the Bristleback in the Terrorblade. But I feel like if you picked it up then, you have these 3 potential bans that you could look to get rid of some of those really bad heroes. So clearly, they're just putting a lot of confidence into Ayad to be able to pop off on his Rubik. It's a lot of stress to have to be able to play off of that, that's for sure.
He does really like his Rubik, though. I mean, that's another hero that we saw a lot through when Atlantis were playing. So we mentioned in the draft prior in draft 2 that he has an incredible Tusk, and that was a big reason of why they're able to win that game. And we'll now see if the Rubik is able to have a similar role as well as Neon into the Enchantress. If they can't get the Chen, they'll get a similar hero out of the Enchantress.
I like the Enchantress much more than the Chen this game anyway, just because it's going to provide a lot more of that aggression. You know an Earthshaker is going to be passive. You know an Enigma is going to be passive. So if you can have someone like the Enchantress, specifically once she hits level 6, just walking on forward, tanking a lot of these ganks, farming aggressively. I mean, you saw Whitemon do it in the T1 series yesterday, right? Even was able to snipe a lot of couriers that were in delivering stuff to the rest of the team, just picking up the pace of the gold injection coming through from the rest of the heroes just by throwing your body out there. So I really want to see Seth look to emphasize that a little bit more with his play this time around on Neon, not just stay in the lane.
I don't know if I can particularly blame them, considering how well Mango Rose performed on the Terrorblade.
Sure, but again, that was into a really solid matchup. Now Neon have that priority. I guess they were always going to have the choice. Last pick on Neon, both for this phase as well as next, but what are they going to pick into this? Is it going to be a PL? Is it going to be... I mean, they could still like Zeus mid with their pick coming through. It still hasn't been banned out. Like, you might be a bit greedy, a bit passive if you go down that route, though.
From Atlantis, I'm trying to see what they look to pick up. I believe you're... you can go your 5 if you want to. If you also want to go your offlane here, which you can because you got the 23rd pick, so nothing really to save. I think the Mars could be something you're considering. WS really likes his Mars. I think Mars TB is a great pairing. Same with the Death Prophet as well, so they can't escape. There can be some issues with maybe dealing with the Enchantress creep, but
give me a
I think it does also on Atlantis. Okay, yeah. It looks like an incredible clock game. Yeah, if you want to pick your 5 up early on, with being able to deal with the Earthshaker, pierces the BKB Black Hole, deals with the Enchantress creep as well. That's a really good call. I like the clock this game a lot.
Gives them vision as well, right? Just to allow DP to know when she can aggressively look to move herself forward. Also makes up for a lot of the weaknesses that never wants to go in fight first, and Clockwork's going to excel on that. Tusk is okay for that sort of role, but it's not quite as good at just consistently dealing with someone like the Earthshaker and getting that BKB pierce onto the Enigma. I suppose they've got the Rubik though, right? So they're going to be able to deal with this pretty reliably, and it's not even like it's only a good black hole stealing game. You've got Chronosphere. There's plenty of stuff that Ayad's going to be able to play around with this.
This is...
Well, is it an Rubik now, actually? Like, could he play the Tusk? Played a pretty good Tusk in the safe lane with the Terrorblade. So I feel like that almost has to be the lane.
I 100% agree. I think TB and Tusk need to play together, no matter what.
But then, does Rubik... I guess the 3 could be yet to come from Atlantis. It did feel like Wonder Boy has been the best Death Prophet player this series so far. So it might be the mid DP, and we're still got the position 3 yet to come from Atlantis. What could they look to go for? Maybe a Dawn? I wouldn't hate a Dawn coming through from Atlantis.
10 seconds
Okay,
remaining.
yeah. With the, I guess what the defensive factor versus the Black Hole and Chrono, is that something you're putting a lot of priority on?
Can go in. Even as the... You could go down different routes, right? Like, you could make sure that you've got the... I still feel like you need someone to go in first with, like, a Blink Dagger BKB. But then after that in the Shard, you got to go into the Aghanim Scepter, just as that defensive component, like you've been saying, against the Enigma and or the...
10 seconds remaining.
Go. Left in the pool.
5 seconds remaining.
Pretty decent against the Faceless Void in lane as well. Maybe not so much the Enchantress. She could look to out a little bit, but comfortable with WS here. Could you Veno at all?
Yeah, I was considering if they could go for like a Veno/Viper to kind of play into the Void.
I mean, even just getting a like Blink Poison Nova means Shaker and Enigma can never blink into these team fights, right?
Ooh.
Okay. More defensive. Really buffs up the TB too, I suppose. Great Roche taking potential.
Lina. Choose your hero.
Gonna go into the Lina. I'm a bit worried for the Lina late game. I think if Atlantis find their farm with, if Ayad can get another scepter and this Venge being played as a core, which you should have your own scepter as well to swap aggressively, Lina's going to be put out of position and she will die to the Terrorblade right click, and there is not enough to keep her alive. Like maybe then Fortune Soul can jump in with like a Chrono or play hard, can counter initiate. But I do think there are multiple ways for the Lina to die this game.
Yeah, I wonder if it's one of these things as well, like you're just waiting for that super late timing where you've got the, like you've been mentioning, the Ags on the Tusk. You've got, of course, you don't even need the Ags on the Venge, but just the swap. And just Terrorblade, he hits the Skadi, right? Because you can get a kick off, but if you're able to just like Shadowblade or BKB Shadowblade away, then Avatar mode's going to feel just fine. But if you've got that Skadi for the slow and able to follow it up with the additional little bit of lockdown coming through, it does make things a whole lot more difficult.
No, where are we putting our chips in this all-important Game 3? Atlantis and Neon. Their runs on the line here. One team, unfortunately, will be eliminated. It's been such an incredible series. Neon taking Game 1, Atlantis taking Game 2, but both those games have been thriller performances from either side. Incredibly close all the way to the end. Who do we feel like has the edge off the back of the draft, though, in this third game?
See, last game I was completely wrong with my prediction, but they didn't play it kind of how I wanted to, you know? Like, I made sure to type in chat. Hi, chat, by the way. You can't have a Bristle into an Enigma and then just leave the Enigma to not die for like 12 minutes. It was kind of nuts. So a big part of this is going to be on the back of how they actually set up these lanes, how they play the lanes as well. This time around, Terrorblade into the Enigma, it isn't quite as free of a time. So I feel like that's going to be a little bit more favored towards the Neon lineup, just with regards to being able to play with this Enigma. But I don't know, it really does go back and forth for me.
How disappointing.
Oh, I feel like there's a lot of matchups that we can look at in a game like this. Just a lot of core-to-core matchup, even the support matchups as well, where they should be able to thrive. But then there's other heroes that counter them. So I don't know. This game looks incredibly even. I think the one nice thing is for Neon, they do have an overwhelming amount of team fight. Atlantis, they are kind of lacking in that department compared to your Chrome or your Black Hole, your Echo Slam as well. Sure, the Exo can be nice and all, but it definitely feels like Atlantis are going to look for this timing where they can melt through first Roche, and then when they can just look to really pressure objectives easily with the Terrorblade and DP sieging down. Because you mentioned in the draft, this is a crap load of physical damage that Atlantis will be pumping out.
Now, I do have a question for you. Predictions close in 20 seconds. Number of Blink Daggers purchased by 25 minutes. I've said 3 to 4, but it could very easily be 0 to 2. You've got Tusk, you've got potentially Rubik, you've got Enigma, and you've got Earthshaker that all kind of want to do it.
Oh, is that Fissure? No. Mega Rose will just slip on through, but Says nearby, they're gonna get the LSA as well. This should be our first blood picked up as Neon. They give it over to Avatar mode as well. What an incredible start for the lean to have. This is almost bottle completed for the position 2.
Yeah, so as I was saying, Neon are just going to take this game. There's actually no contest. It's going to be very, very easy to pick up this W.
Yep. All right. We'll see, man. I don't know. I'm trying to pick a favorite, but I can't find it as well. I feel like Atlantis is going to have such a huge timing at I think like 17 minutes with the Scepter on WS and potentially the BKB on the Death Prophet as well. Like that is really their strongest timing, I feel like, in a game like this.
Depends on how well the lane goes. You know, playing against an Enchantress is not the easiest time. You know, making sure to consistently lock up a lot of these camps. There's no pulls able to be achieved, and well, get his own pull happening here with the medium camp, so setting themselves up quite nicely to keep the lane equilibrium, playing a little bit more towards this Venge in a bit more of a defensive style. Level 2, level 3, they can absolutely look to go for some kills, but for right now, level 1, not quite.
Like you mentioned, that pull is really going to be able to help out WS from finding his experience. They will drag the wave though, so they won't deny a whole lot against Fortune Soul. Take a look at how some of the other lanes are shaping up at the moment. You mentioned Wonderboy has looked incredible so far for the Death Prophet through the entire series. Avatar mode playing on a different hero as well on the Lina. And Lina should win this matchup. This is a hero that does not lose, I'd say like 98% of matchups. This hero is just an incredible laner.
Yeah, you don't lose matchups like 1-to-1. The way you win the matchups is by rotations coming through from other lanes and looking to lock you down with the stuns, everything else along that. And I mean, you do have two heroes that are deep being able to rotate in the Tusk and the Rubik, just for that little bit of a disjoint, get some of that burst damage through. But like Wonderboy, need to get so close to be able to get off that Spirit Siphon that by the time you get in there, Ina's basically taken half of your HP anyway, so it makes the Spirit Siphon not really that worth it.
And you mentioned the potential for these heroes to be able to rotate. Did you feel like they will be free though? Like, are they playing in the lanes in particular, you know, the Earthshaker and the Tusk, are they playing in lanes where they can leave their cores to help out mid?
Maybe going to try and bait out a use of the meta on this bottom side. Like, whenever you're playing a Terrorblade, you want to get maximum use out of it, especially since they increase the bonus damage at level 1 to 30. Like, it's just way too valuable for harassment and bullying out of the lane to not do it. But play hard, maybe might feel like he eventually needs to make this move anyway. To do that, then it's just a matter of Ponyo joining together with a TB, holding his lift to make sure that there's no TPs out, deflection into the meta, into a dead Enigma. For now, Playhard's going to stay around this bottom side of the map.
Ponyo is doing a very good job as well, just being able to always scout out where the Earthshaker is playing to the left side of the tree line, just trying to block some pulls, stop him from finding an angle with the fissure, because if they do find the Eidolons, and once Enryu gets the Malefice leveled up a little bit, then the Terrorblade will be vulnerable.
I stop you.
Careful with this thing on Ponyo. I think you play around with this Enigma lane, especially if the enemy team doesn't have a way to clear those Eidolons, is this split timing. So he's level 3, 2 points in the Eidolons, you've got 6 of them, dealing 28 damage. So quick mass, about 180 damage per right click. You just don't want to be caught on the wrong side of the fissure, especially with someone like Rubik, who just doesn't have a way to be able to escape that. Playhard can do is just put himself in between Ponyo and the lane. Enryu's in a 1-to-1 matchup against the TB. He's going to be pretty satisfied, because TP cannot kill you one-on.
I love DOTA so much.
Not at this stage, at least. Me too, Insania.
It's a love-hate relationship though, isn't it?
Yeah. If my team listens to me up so much.
So you're the one with the big brain. You're telling everyone what to do. Giving the calls, never wrong.
Never.
Never, ever. Do you say when you're wrong though? You might know when you're wrong,
sure.
but if you make a okay. All right.
I'll be like, I screwed up, sorry guys, sort of thing. it just doesn't happen all that often. So I don't remember last time.
Just can't relate. Top lane, WS. Are you trying to copy me now? WS is about to go down. One more right click and they'll find it. Then Fortune Soul, beautifully done.
You watch me.
Let's go. All right, I'll give you a fight this game.
All right. First big team fight I'll take.
All right. All right, let's see. I'm ready for it.
The first team fight. Not laning stage, team fight.
Okay.
See just how tongue-tied I can get.
What are we expecting out of the... I'll hold that thought. Fortune Soul. No, it's going to be fine. Time walk out. WS won't continue to chase. What are we hoping Atlantis look to do with his first exorcism? Is Wonderboy going to consider about going top? Do they want to bring some supports to play with the Death Prophet mid?
You can't just pop it at will, right? Like running into Alina at this stage is basically... He's got crazy amounts of damage, especially... Why did they reduce Laguna Blade's mana cost? I know it was a little while ago, but it doesn't need to be 150 for 500 damage. Way too much. You need the Tusk and probably the Rubik to be able to back you off so that you're able to convert onto a kill into an objective. And I feel like they've got pretty reasonable potential to be able to do that, right? The Enchantress, Untouchable, really isn't going to be able to do that much against the Exorcism. Not going to be able to do too much against a Tusk with 2 points in tag team. Only really takes a couple of solid right clicks and even the Ench goes down. And side, push forward. This isn't a team fight. This isn't my fight.
Yep. Well, we do have a kill up top though into the Rubik, and WS, he's going to be chased down as well. Fortune Soul and Set off to a flying start at this top lane with a time walk back up. The Faceless Void will easily close the distance to secure the 4th kill for Neon off the back of the laning phase.
Kind of what you expect into Avenge though, right? She is not the greatest laner. You've actually paired her together with, in my opinion, one of the best laners to be able to put together with her, just with all of that minus armor that you get from the Wave of Terror. 3 at level 1, plus now 85 damage is really significant. And pairing that together with a Tusk, of course, with the tag team, physical damage type, so it gets amped up even further. The thing is, though, you got to get it onto Seth, because it just Ice Shards the Faceless Void, he's going to be able to time walk every single time. So Seth's been really good with his positioning so far. 2-0-1, able to keep this small camp dewarded, get some pulls off, get OP creeps like the Harpy Stormcrafter, and make sure that he's never in a position to die.
100%. I was just going to mention the same thing. I think his position has been exceptional, and we've seen how he's just playing with like the neutral creeps in front of the Enchantress, kind of just running at the Tusk and trying to scout out his position. And if he sees where the Tusk is, he kind of knows around about where he can play. So this is given a free lane over to the Void. So now you've got level 6 to play with Fortune Soul, which could mean he can rotate to the Exorcism if he wants to get involved, or they can just secure another kill. And like you mentioned, this Vengeful Spirit is a bit of a weak laner, and that can be some issues, because this hero, you need one item, and that is the Scepter. But until you get that Scepter, you are pretty goddamn useless.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I like the double Wraith Bands, I like the Power Treads, but it's got to be straight into Scepter after that. You can't afford any other of these, like, middling items. They're basically just what's going to allow you to farm the most efficient. Got the Boots of Speed just because of how close he's been to surviving from a couple of previous gank attempts.
They're going to go on WS. The Chrono if required. The Death Prophet is nearby. Wonderboy's going to charge up the Exorcism. The Time Walk's going to come back up shortly. They're going to have the damage to get the kill before Fortune Soul escapes, and it looks like he will get enough distance playing with the Strength Treads. They're even going to be able to slow down Wonderboy for the moment. So yeah, the Void will escape, and Seh, he also steps into the tree line, and meanwhile down bottom, Neon, they got the kill onto the Rubik, and also they'll find a tier 1 tower. This is a huge sequence of events for Dire.
And they see that the meta was popped as well by Mango Rose. He tried to get a little bit of pressure onto that mid tower, but Alina coming there with double damage just pushes him out of the lane entirely. Wanted to, he could have just gotten a few right clicks into that tower because of how pressured they are up on this top side. Well, he's knowing the fact that Wonderboy had just used that Exorcism previously, but he's just like, you know what? I'm Alina. I need to make sure that I get into my BKB so that I'm able to farm, so that I don't care quite so much against, for example, so that I'm not getting Tusk stunned outside of the Walrus Punch. They are a very farm-intensive lineup, and Neon know that if it gets to the super late game, they can feel pretty confident in being able to take it. You all these great big team fighting heroes, TB, Earthshaker,
Mid lane in the river.
the Enigma.
Avatar mode,
nice
they
dodge.
do get to Ayat's still gonna try and juke to the north. Escape into the stair line, but Avatar mode instead will be able to block off the path. Another kill for Neon, 6-0. What a position to get the kill. Avatar mode's like, alright, I'll just go back and take the stack. Why not if I'm here?
Greedy boys, these cores, and this is a game where you can have two legitimate win conditions on Neon's side. Lina plus Faceless Void. Two heroes that are very farm intensive, are very greedy, but if you're winning the lanes as hard as they are, it doesn't matter all that much, right? You're just going to be able to synergize super well together once the Faceless Void does join in on a lot of these team fights with the damage inside the Chronosphere and save through the swap on the Venge, but I kind of feel like Venge is going to be the first one targeted in a lot of these team fights.
And it's just...
especially pre-Ags.
It's a concern on Atlantis because I think, I'll hold that thought because bottom lane play hard should be able to find the fissure block off, and he does. So Ryu with more than enough Eidolons to help get the kill. Now, this is really starting to get to a bad territory here for Atlantis because late game, Neon, they've got the Cortical matchup with the Void and Lina. They jumps to the Terrorblade late game. Like, this is not easy for a TB to play. Atlantis need to run over this game, and with the lanes going as poorly as they have, it's going to be off the back of the swap kill potentially top. That's a great setup. Beautifully done for Atlantis. They'll get the kill into the Faceless Void, and they should be able to chase down Set as well. So that is what Atlantis needs. A couple of cute plays that swap back into the instant stun, and now they can get a tier 1 tower as well. This will get the ball rolling. This will start to pick up some momentum for Radiant.
You have Avatar mode though in the mid lane, trying to push this mid lane as much as possible. Fiery Soul is about to expire though, never mind. Maybe just a little bit of miss micro from Mango Rose there on his illusion, refreshes the 7 stacks that they've got. Actually be able to finish this claim unless the Eidolons, you look at it, do the work. Fortune Soul came back towards this lane as well. Gonna look to go for this super deep dive with the Chronosphere. Kill if they can get it.
Onya's a free kill, it looks like, down to the south. Nicely done though. Telekinesis sends him out. They will lose their tier 1 tower, but Fortune Soul finds an opening. A Chrono, the first one of the game, onto the black hole as well. Why not chuck it out for Ryu? Just a nice little celebration for them to be able to step out, get the kill, and be rewarded with the tower along with it.
Even just trying to force out a glyph, it really isn't the right time to be using it only 13 minutes into the game, but without doing that, tier 2 tower's already lost about half of its HP. You're going to need to use it now for the full creep wave, surely.
Bottom lane?
They're just dying.
There's a cute play from WS to swap back into the tower range, and I mean, T2 towers do hurt a crazy amount 13 minutes in. So did he get the goal? No, it's going to get split. The tower getting the kill, but at least WS now might have a lane to play with. He's already got 1 component, almost enough goal for the second as well.
Yeah, I suppose, but again, it really doesn't feel like you have the capability to fight unless you've got this exorcism, right? Rubik only just got the spell steal as well, so now you can look to play a little bit more. Enigma's going to need to be a little bit more mindful of the Rubik. Not quite as free of a team fight. He knew that previously Rubik was on the run, was only level 5 at the time. I still feel like it's going to be way too long until they pick up WS, and no one addresses this mid push. Like, look how low that tier 2 tower got, because it was not addressed at all. Devastating to lose this much map control this early into the game when you've got someone like the TB that needs to be farming relatively safely in areas of the jungle.
I mean, you see Mango Rose has just parked himself in a similar position to what we saw in game 2. Just playing top, shoved out with the illusions, trying to take some aggressive farm as well. Some of the jungle farm, I should say, from Neon. Is 30 net worth.
Who are they expecting to kill here with this smoke rotation coming through? They've still got 15 seconds left on the Exo. Just trying to get some super deep vision up and not be punished if someone ends up falling down.
Yeah, I don't hate the call, because if they do get a kill and then you can lead into a tower with that Exo, it's just like you said, it's a question of who's going to show. And at the moment, these Avatar mode, they know someone's nearby though. No power rune spawn, but they check top. They know there was no power rune there as well, so something has to be going on across the map. So instantly Enryu ducks into the tree line onto the T2 tower, so no one will die on the opposite side of the map.
They have this yield. Oh, they didn't actually put down a sentry ward when they went for this original smoke
one
play.
boy, this is not good. Oh, sidestep at the last second. They can block up the path
steal.
with the shards. They stick around though. Both sides have a ward on the high ground. Ponyo is going to be the sacrifice, it looks like. Should be chilling to the north side though. They kill off Enryu. And now Mega Rose going to look to get involved as well. Avatar mode, they'll toss him inside the middle. But a BKB, he's going to escape inside the river. The Echo Slam from play up doesn't provide them much. And now Avatar mode, he's blocked off from WS. What a sequence of events from Atlantis. And now they're going to consider Roshan. No way, Atlantis 2 skirmishes in a row that they're able to edge out a victory. And they might be back in this game.
They might be. Shows the importance of ensuring that you carry those sentry wards around, especially when you're going for those super deep invades. Now, I don't know what you're thinking. This is into a double damage. This is into a meta. And he's going to buy back immediately. How much impact is it going to have? I suppose meta's just about to expire.
Oh, mid lane, the Urshico. They've called out another. And they stole the fissure.
As well. Points into it too. Points there. Faceless Void coming through and solo Chronosphere coming through.
LSA as well from Avatar mode onto the right side. They kill off Wonder Boy. He's down for 30. Let's see if they can get Roshan off the back of this. They need to move fast.
You go for an insane swap play here on WS.
They might try it, but then
Cheeky?
Oh, cheeky? A little bit cheeky. Not enough, unfortunately. This should be extra cheeky.
Oh, he's got the Tumblr's toy ready. Ooh, come on. Gotta face the pit, my brother.
Run! Alright.
Also, I'm very disappointed that you cast that last team play.
I'm sorry. Yep. I thought about it as well.
It's a reflex, I understand. Alright, next one's mine though.
Okay.
You linking forward very heavily just to make sure that that siege creep gets removed for all this push up top. But I mean, farmed enough again on Mango Rose where he's able to just, even with his illusions, basically two-hit some of these maxed out Eidolons. Lane pushed in, seeing a little bit more defensive movement. It's not really like Neon need to go for any plays though, right? The 15 seconds left on the Echo Slam. Lena's ready to fight if she wanted to, but she'll look to pick up those boots of travel, wait for the Chronosphere still to come on Fortune Soul. I think DKB is kind of good, not amazing. I think the main thing for him is just being able to take
a fight.
Yeah. You take this one.
Enryu! Look at the jump here in the black hole! It's on to 2. You've got Avatar mode nearby as well. Was a great spot to fight for Atlantis. You had to water the higher ground, but Enryu was ready. Lines up the black hole, drops it onto Tilwin. Now Neon, they can look to take a tier 2 tower.
Don't say I never do anything for you. I saw that black hole coming and I was like, I think Ares would like this.
I appreciate it. It's the Oracle once again striking back.
They get the tier 2 tower mid. They're able to take the outpost. Even, like I was saying before, more control being removed away from the Terrorblade. Just looking to wait for that Chronosphere. That's the thing about this lineup. They have enough damage potential just through this dual core lineup that was so successful that they don't actually need to use like the Chronosphere and the Echo Slam and the Black Hole all together in unison. Just one at a time is fine. So what a lot of people might say is a very, cooldown heavy lineup isn't actually so, because of how just dominant both the mid as well as the top lanes went for Neon.
You see a perfect example of that. Black Hole's on cooldown, so Atlantis want to smoke, but you've got Chrono already. Neon, they are still in fighting shape. Smoke's gonna pop. They see WS and
everyone 900 gold away from being able to pick up that full Aghanims for himself. 17 minutes is generally the pass mark that we've been saying, and well, it's nearly 19 and he's still a fair ways away, so looking more like 21 minutes, and that's assuming he doesn't die between now and then.
And meanwhile, bottom lane, Avatar mode is just pummeling to the tower. That's another free tier 2. So much gold, so much map control being given over to Neon in this game 3.
I'm into this. Obviously, you don't want to use the glyph to be able to protect it, but where could you farm now on the Terrorblade? He's got this such small area that you always know where he's going to be, basically. And, well, it's obviously really obvious if he just reveals on the lane. His positioning, his spidey senses are tingling, though. Ayad, good positioning, too, to be able to pop any kind of smoke attempts, but to be a full wraparound, they know that might be where the support's playing. What a next-level play if they're able to find this one.
Ayad, great position though. Pops a smoke, but they still the position out to the right side of the tree line. Avatar and Henry will surround Mango Rose. He still gets his thunder off, but it will not matter. Fortune's all. He can step out to the right. They've got the control to make sure Mango Rose can get no damage afterwards. Very nicely done. As Neon now off that kill, what map control they want to get. They can consider about sending one person mid this off the lane, and the rest can maybe stay top if they want to make the tier 1 tower.
Yeah, Avatar mode is easily the best one to put mid. He's got the boots of travel available. You just take all of these top towers. Like you've already lost 2 tier 2s so easily. You have to know that, especially with this Aegis up for the next, I guess it's only a minute, but high ground, you need to save the glyph for that. Like, you're not going to want to use it on a tier 1. Even the tier 2 is somewhat questionable, but the thing is, even if you lose this tier 1 tower, then where can TB farm relatively safely, you know, with his team having an avenue to be able to come in and protect him? It almost feels like you need to be holding hands the entire time just to make sure that the TP doesn't die in a situation like we just saw. It is that 21 minutes that they're finally going to be able to pick up Aghanim Scepter for the Venge. So gone is the time where you're able to be greedy. You just got to be a little bit more selfless now. Play around the Terrorblade, give up your life for him.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Let's see if they can go for this tower defense on Atlantis. Aegis, it's about to expire. It needs to be a swap into an instant telekinesis stun. And they're aware of this though. Avatar mode. Step out, back to the high ground where Neon have firm control of the triangle. An early gem pickup as well from Sarah. They really want to limit the map that Atlantis can play with.
So now, Avatar mode did just show that he TP'd, even with the boots of travel, onto the bottom side of the map. It gives them a solid 30 seconds to be able to make some kind of movement happen, but with the observer ward being dewatered, without a smoke being used, and with lanes needing to be shoved out, Neon are just going to back off together as a team, play around the safety of their tier 1 tower, and just keep these lanes shoved from afar. Play hard. The Aghanim Shard able to do so. Own Blink Dagger. But all ultimates now available for Neon. Very confident about that, and again, just this observer ward being placed down by Playhard on the top left-hand side of the map. That's going to know exactly where Mango Rose has been farming the entire time. They've basically parked himself up here on the top side of the map, and he's going to look to continue.
Smoke on smoke. Atlantis, they've got the high ground at the moment. Neon are going to go all the way around, file in behind their tier 2 tower. Great position from Ayad. No one's hit by! Because the rest of the team, they're trying to play with Mega Rose, but the swap instantly into the damage. The Void! He gets blown up! Great reactions coming through from Atlantis. It'll be a 4-on-4, but it does look like Radiant, they're going to charge on forward still. Wonderboy, they're going to be cautious. The Lean's damage output is ridiculous at this stage of the game. They need to respect Avatar mode.
Look, to be able to get even that one kill feels really nice. You know, putting the Faceless Void a little bit more on the back seat. Kind of feels like he's going to go into a little bit more of this utility role, right? Let Lina, who's, again, having such a fantastic game, 5,000 net worth ahead of the DP, the opposing mid laner, be the true win condition.
Speaking of the Lina, looking for a solo. We've got Enryu and Playard nearby in case it's required. And that is one thing, though, that I feel like we are going to see a couple of times this game. They swap into the instant telekinesis stun, into the burst potential.
They're using Miss Bait right now.
Oh my lord.
He had the time walk available, so he felt confident enough to be able to go for that play. Ballsy, though, actually end up popping the smoke, so try and find Mega Rose again. That ward, man, it's giving them so much info.
He's got to... Oh, Fortune Soul just drops the Chrono. No messing around. They know no one else is playing behind the Terrorblade. So the bubble's out. Fortune Soul with play hard. He'll get the kill. A little bit of revenge here for the Faceless Void.
US just dancing inside the tree line. Gonna try and get a bit of information. Will they get this Light Strike array off before the TP out? And so at least forcing some kind of defensive movement out from Neon.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
DB going here is the one person that's having a pretty good game so far for Atlantis. Was even able to get the Specialist's array, so nice for him whenever he pops the meta.
I feel like, again, we're in a position, though, where we're looking at Atlantis with their force repositioning. We've mentioned the swap, but Ayad, again, is going to the Aghanim Scepter. It is going to take quite some time for him. I think you got to give the Philosopher's Stone to Ayad. I really think this Scepter is going to be make or break here for Atlantis.
It's under attack.
Yeah, it feels like they're really respecting the Rubik's potential to just be an absolutely busted hero this game. So, are you going to get much value out of the Aether Lens? Probably not.
I guess, did you blame them, though? Because look at the abilities he can still. Drop, Dragon Slave, there's some incredible abilities. The LSA is great as well. You saw some of the Enigmas, so I don't blame them at all, but that means Ponyo has to come through in such a crazy game like this. Charge on full, they'll get the easy kill, but still it's into a tier 1 tower, so at least they'll net themselves an objective off the back of that.
That was actually dieback. Dieback, but it was so long ago that he's got buyback again. You could consider Roche for sure. I mean, you always want to have that second life when you're up against an Enigma, when you're up against a Faceless Void. So, and like I was saying before, Radiant side, Tusk, minus armor, even the Exorcism to be able to deal with it feels pretty damn solid. So even just placing up wards to be able to catch out any movements from Neon and perhaps, you know, find someone off to the side with a swap, with the stun combinations coming through from Atlantis to burst them down one by one. It's very clear that they're going to take team fights in a very different manner. They are almost entirely single target focused, whereas Neon are complete opposite. They're trying to force fights into these choke points, these clumped up areas, whereas Atlantis, they much prefer the open field where they're able to go around the side and find that pickoff.
Yeah, the space they're creating. Like Ponyo again with these stolen abilities. Making multiple heroes of Neon look to move top, opening up the map. Bottom's getting shoved out, mid's getting shoved out. This net worth lead is slowly dwindling. Nothing
nice call,
crazy.
By the way, Ares. Philosopher's Stone given over to Ayad.
Lovely, lovely.
All right, Analyst, what are they doing next?
I don't believe you want to leave mid if you're raiding. You've got very good vision nearby. Honestly, they've got wards kind of in a line from Roche to the mid tier 1 tower to the triangle. You've got to take a fight by your vision. So what'd you say? I didn't.
No, I was just saying, like, they know where the Tusk is because he got rid of the Lena's Courier. Luckily enough for them, he wasn't holding on to anything at the time. Very close towards that Linken's, though. In Avatar mode, he knows that that's what's going to really punish him, right? The swap or the Walrus kick eventually looking to come through and punish him, and, well,
Roche is falling fast, guys.
Yeah.
They know what's going on. They saw them jump in. They have this ward, but they might be too late. And look at Playout's position. Jump the Earthshaker instantly. Let's see if they can take the fight even into the Aegis advantage. Atlantis, they need to make sure they do not group up. The swap back, WS gets the initial stun into the Lena. They didn't give the Aegis over to Avatar mode, but meanwhile down to the southern side. Fortune's over the Crow. Clipping onto 2 heroes. WS could do nothing to keep them alive, and now they're going to go for Mango Rose. He's off to the right side. Fish is there. Ayad's going to be in with the combination, but Enryu again. A black hole onto 2. Have they got the damage with the 4th? You bet they do. They're in with the Echo Slam, and they'll bring down the Terrorblade and a Neon. They can look to clean up the stragglers. Onto WS they go. They'll just miss Ayad, but what a team fight by the mouth of the pit for Neon.
This is the thing. This is why they didn't really want to fight around that area on Atlantis, right? If Neon are able to set up, if they're able to get an even decent vision down for themselves, they're going to win every single time. They want the big open field. They want the pickoffs where they're not farming around these small areas, and there isn't a much more influential choke point than the Roche pit.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Come get healed.
That must be so exhausting as well as a team to have to constantly playing split up. And we see that they're trying their best, but still they're getting multiple heroes. A two-man Chrono, a two-man Black Hole, time and time again. Neon, what can they do now with the ultimates on cooldown? This could be an opening for Atlantis, but you don't have the meta even to fight.
Yep, no meta. It almost feels like you gotta wait for the, say, Aeon Disc on the DP, but what exactly is it gonna do? I mean, at least you won't get killed inside the Chronosphere, I guess, but Black Hole's still gonna hold you in position for plenty of time to be able to enable the follow-up damage. I really feel like there's any of these items that are still going to be coming shortly outside of course, the Aghanim Shard on Ayad. He was able to do it in game number 2, but this feels like they are so much further behind than they were in that previous one.
Luckily, with the daytime occurring, Neon, they were able to sniff out Atlantis, looking to enter the river and into the triangle where they were playing with that ward. Gonna catch Fortune Soul off guard, so Neon, they will be able to back up and just wait for their cooldowns to come back up. You've got Chrono in 15. Black Hole's still gonna take quite some time.
It really does feel to me like they need to just bite the bullet and buy a gem right now on Atlantis. They need to be the ones that have the vision advantage this game. Just clear out as many of these observer wards, go together as a group while they've still got things like the Black Hole on cooldown. Again, they really only needed to use one big ultimate previously. They used the Chronosphere as well, but it's already back up. It's, as long as they've got potential to engage and get these kills without committing all of the ultimates, you're feeling very, very happy.
US, don't do it. Don't set to the low ground. Don't set to the low ground.
He sees. The courier went and just delivered something to nothing, essentially.
Fortune Soul might have to be a little... Yeah, okay.
An Arcane Rune, not double damage. Blame the color blindness. But, yep, nearly losing a tier 3 tower doesn't feel all that great. Bottom lane, at least, is being pushed in a little bit here by Mango Rose, so trying to open up the map a bit more for them to be able to play with, maybe even around the Neon Triangle. Could be where Mango Rose is trying to set up shop next, but I mean, look at how far behind he's for. Level 16, even though the net worth is pretty equivalent. Up at level 18, Faceless Void, a level 20 Lina. Level 18 on the Enigma. And Ryu, he's been playing a pretty damn solid game this time around. And again, this Enigma just wasn't counted in the laning phase. And see why.
They are trying to funnel every single creep wave they can get into Ayad. He might be caught outside the base. Is he going to buy out for the scepter? Oh, the swap from WS.
They swapped as well.
Alright, they'll keep him alive.
I wonder if that gives them the information, though. Like, they used a lot to be able to protect this guy. Like, running a really risky position where, you know, you could lose a core. Now, you need to shove out this lane, probably mid as well, and look to go for a smoke. Find that pick-off with the swap. The Aegis only has about 30 seconds left on it, so it should be near perfect timing coming through if they were to accomplish this.
The issue for Atlantis now, like, you need to take a fight where you are the ones getting the initiation. So this is going to come down to your vision game and where you are fighting with Observer Wards. It's very easy for you to be able to defend the base, but Neon are not going to go high ground now without the next Aegis, or at least without a couple of pickoffs. So for Atlantis to get something of value out of this scepter completed, it needs to be probably in a high ground choke point where Neon, one person at least, is running up blind, and where Atlantis have a ward.
But the thing is, Neon, with how far ahead they are, they don't need to split up anymore. They've got their lead. They've got their key items that they need. They've got all of their ultimates. They just need to clump relatively together. There's nothing really that's going to punish them outside of maybe an AoE silence coming through from the DP, but you got plenty of BKBs to be able to counter that.
Like, another thing as well, you need to get the level 18 on Wonderboy. He's very close to it.
Yep.
That third point in the exorcism is just an incredible spike here for the Death Prophet to play with. So
he just got his shard as well, so he just wants to be able to stay on to someone like the Enigma, sorry, not the Enigma, the Earthshaker, for example, and just get that fear off, prevent him from getting those consistent chain stuns in some of these team fights. Got it now. They've got the illusion, put the bottom lane. The lane's in a pretty decent spot, but TP needs to be connected with the rest of his team. Gotta do it now.
WS is got to get out. Avatar mode is stalking the Venge, and even Wonderboy is far pushed forward. They're going to make the attempt onto the death pot to the left side. The swap just in the nick of time. They're going to kick the Enchantress, but that's not the target they want to start on. Serious, so goddamn tanky, and they recognize this from Atlantis. They're going to look to get out, reposition themselves back to the high ground.
The reveal as well, so now they know they need to be playing around this kick. Something like play hard with his extra cast range, playing a little bit closer to the rest of the boys. You can get that blink forward so you don't get that walrus punch off after the swap. There you go. Once again pushed in. Purchased up by Ayad. Like they're going to hit any other timings in future. Link Dagger on the Terrorblade. He just wants to get in onto the back lines.
Pinging out. I see WS moving outside the base. Mid lane, the kick as again onto the Enchantress. Not the target. Enchantress will still go down. Ayad and Wonderboy have had to put themselves incredibly far on the front line to secure the kill. What great reactions! A swap into the blink away. They forced the buyback. Die with this lane ward though and know exactly where WS is trying to escape. And Fortune Soul! How does he find the corner again onto 2? They're able to steal it from Ponyo, holding back the Earthshaker to the northern side, but Henry is in with the black hole! Onto 2, they've got no answers! Neon bringing down 3. They're now going to turn their attention to Wonderboy, as all they'll lose is Avatar mode, but they'll take everything.
I love DOTA so much.
Take everything else along with this double siege creep wave, enabling the push in forward. Even if you buy back on the DP, what's it going to do? You don't have any way to be able to defend this without the Exorcism. It's going to need to be another great play coming through from Ayad, and they'll try and stall it once again. They could get away with this without spending the buybacks. Been trying to just put his body in the way, and Ryu to soak up a few of those multi-shot hits, enable the siege creeps to survive. I say you got to give up 1 lane of racks minimum. Lose the battle to potentially the war going. Ooh. They won't even get the racks. Really respecting the fighting potential coming out, even with the meta being popped. But I suppose the other thing is that they see an even more important objective, which is Roshan. Wildwing Ripper scouts it out. It's got the Aghanim Scepter on it. Kind of feels to me like you might want to be giving that one over to the Lina. I know it's just going to provide you that way to be the consistent presence in a lot of these team fights, you know? Wrap around onto the backside. You don't need to be playing behind everyone else. You could be playing a much more aggressive game, especially with that silver edge you've already got.
Yeah, I like it. I think positioning is always important for the Lina. So to have this in the arsenal would be very beneficial. It does look like Fortune Soul's going to eat the scepter. Oh, yeah. All right.
Of course.
So he's got greedy, man.
I mean, it can be useful for things. We've seen a couple of times where the Terrorblade's been able to get off the Sunder at, like, you know, barely any HP. So just time walk into him, get the guaranteed time lock. Maybe that's the extra half a second to a second that you need to be actually able to take him down.
WS is getting scouted out with this cliff ward. Oh no, not like this. They're going to get the illusion as well afterwards. Down for 70 seconds is the Venge, and this might be able to open up the high ground now for them.
Yeah, potentially. They don't know that he doesn't have buyback, right? I mean, he just finished up getting the Aether Lens. Maybe they would have seen a few of the parts there, but yeah, it just got delivered at the very end. But you got to test it for sure. But Aegis, all these capabilities. What's the vision look like at the moment for Neon? Do they see the fact that Tusk isn't actually in the base? Going back now. Avatar mode's still the one, but he's got Lincolns.
Their only play is a kick, I think, into telekinesis. It has to be picture perfect here for Atlantis if they are going to hold this second set, and it looks like that's not the case.
Radiant's middle barracks, under attack. Radiant's been fortificated. Don't waste your time.
Just got the AC as well to help with a little bit more of this push, to help with some of the survivability against the Terrorblade. And look at this. This is the dual core lineup that I was talking about. These are 2 legitimate game winners. Even the Aghanim Scepter coming through from Ser, he's tired of it. He says, you know what? I want to carry this game too. Hands and Quiver. What a madman.
I have no idea why he's gone for this item, but Sure. I mean, I imagine he.
Pure damage
well
against the chibi.
Okay.
Stout though. Lacking a little bit here, sir.
What do you go next item then for the Enchantress? You're going for. I mean, you've already gone down this. Okay. Looks like that's the case. Dragonlance queued up. Mentioned into the pike afterwards. Radiant. They're under Observer Ward. Neon have a lot of information to play with. They see multiple heroes on Atlantis inside the bottom jungle. Gonna look to smoke. This could potentially be the last fight here for Atlantis.
Oh no, you can't catch WS to be able to start this all, and they will. Walking underneath the ward.
US, they're gonna see him.
Pick off. No save for Chrono.
And they'll get rid of the illusion as well, and now they're just gonna charge on forward. Atlantis, they're gonna get out, but Fortune Soul. Go drop the Chrono. A blast streak will do nothing. The Atlantis only delaying the inevitable. As down it goes the Death Prophet, and they're already looking for more. Fortune Soul, he wants them to notice him in the tree line.
How's the mid lane looking? Well, looks pretty pushed in to me, so they're just saying, you know what, we don't care about this bottom lane. You've got Ponyo trying to push it out, but he's got to get back to the base. This is the last bastion of safety that you've got to defend, and yeah, buyback has to be expended. Good kickback.
He's got the Aegis. They'll get the first life, I believe, in Henry. What a black hole to end the game and end the series potentially. Is it again? Henry, the madman has done it multiple times, not once, not twice, not even 3 times. The Black Holes has been exceptional. Neon have been exceptional in this game 3. A well-deserved victory, a well-deserved series victory. They will knock out Atlantis from the run in the TI-11 regional qualifiers. Neon will live to see another day.
Even just some style points there from Seth, getting the Sproink with the double kill inside of the enemy fountain. It was just a really solid performance coming through from Neon. A little bit of like draft issues and somewhat from the laning, but this is very different from the Neon that we saw when we were casting the DPC. They are looking a lot more cohesive together. And it feels like maybe Play Hard is the one, the gel that's really going to bring them together. I wonder how many of the calls he's really taking on the back of him, because he's placing all the observer wards. He's providing a lot of the pings that we're seeing on the map as well. So many times we saw like he was the one to actually call out a lot of these scouting movements. It's very clear that his experience is key difference makers that might push them to be the new dark horse coming through, considering we've seen highly rated teams already go home. No Lil Gun, no Nigma C. Maybe it's Neon.
I think the point you mentioned as well in regards to the vision and what PlayHub was able to provide them in that game with the wards, we saw it in game 1 as well with Enryu on the Beastmaster. Like since then, Atlantis felt the priority to ban that out. And it was a big reason why Neon were able to have success in game 1 and a big reason why they were able to success in game 3. Not only that, but the early gem pickup from Ser, I think it was like 21 minutes in where they picked the gem up for Neon. So just the read of this game that they had to be the one getting the jumps. If they gave Atlantis any opportunity to find that initiation, then you know,
Yeah, it's about time.
Game 4.
Look at that build by Thompson. Diffusal gyrocopter.
Wait, what?
Diffusal? It gives you a lot of agility and it gives you ways to run around, chase heroes down, I guess.
It's
different.
Did you guys talk about that beforehand?
Nope, we did not talk about anything that we were buying or doing, more or less. I mean, we had everything that we talked through, but the diffusal gyro is not a thing that we ever came up.
No, we didn't know. No, I don't think we knew. We didn't practice it a single time.
We were in the middle of something, something was going on in the game, like, I don't know, we were smoking or something. And then I was like, all right, my gyro just got a diffu, I just made a joke out of it, and then we just kept on playing, right? We just trusted him.
Hi, diffu. He has no mana. Yeah, I rocketed the Omni.
They have diffu actually, they're gonna remove my mana.
I can kill the Wisp.
I won't have mana.